go so fast, all tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I know my patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah, take you like a pill. Am I fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah, take you like a pill. Get my fill.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here we are, the second match of our doubleheader. Now, this one is going to be something else. We've got the University of Texas San Antonio, UTSA, versus A&M Maroon. Texas A&M going head-to-head in our Premier Invite League playoff play-ins. These are two monster teams going head-to-head in a battle that is going to go the distance. We thought our last one would, but it ended sooner than we expected. But I think we are going to be here for a long night. Once again, I am Jays Wills, and I am joined on the desk tonight by Vial. We had a great match one. We're looking for a great second series. Vial, how are you feeling?
I am feeling great, and I'm just going to echo exactly what you said. The first matchup, yes, it did end a little bit sooner than we were expecting, but this one, oh, the Texas Showdown, the battle of, I guess you can call it the Wild West at this point. I am excited to see where they're going to go, and honestly, I'm already going to put my money down on it. I expect to see us go all three maps.
All right. I definitely agree with you, and we're going to have to see exactly which maps we are going to see go the distance. We've got our map bans rolling on through. We're not going to see Coastline. That's going to be taken off the board by UTSA early on. Clubhouse, the next to go. We're not going to see that repeat. And our first pick is going to be Oregon. So we will see that one happen again. Villa's going to roll on through next. We'd love to see a good Villa map. That'll be the first one of the night. Consulate and Theme Park will leave the board, and Cafe will be our decider map. We don't have quite the T3 special because Clubhouse is out of the mix, but we've got some pretty mainstay maps that these teams are surely going to be ready to come out in style on for sure. Now, these two teams actually met once before in the round robin stage of their group, and UTSA came out on top. It wasn't a dominant victory, but it was a victory. It went all three maps, it went the distance, and UTSA grinded it out, and they came out on top. Now, are we going to see the same result? Well, Texas A&M are going to be looking to change that. They've been grinding ever since that match. They've been putting in the work this season, more so than seasons past. People have said they are a team to be reckoned with, and they are here tonight to prove it.
Yeah, and the first map going on is going to be Oregon. We just saw this map played out in the previous matchup, and the question is, are we going to see any target bans? Are we going to see any strategies evolve or devolve depending on where you look at it and what team we see? Do we see linear pushes? Do we see a lot more strategy in play? Do we see a heavy roam game? I am thoroughly excited to see how this first map plays out because granted, while Oregon is still very different compared to Villa and Cafe, a little bit smaller than Villa, it still plays in a similar fashion in terms of the roam game and how you want to set yourself up on site. But enough of the theory crafting. Let's get into this operator ban phase, and this is going to be the stepping stone for both of these teams.
It absolutely will, and it is going to be an indicator of exactly how the night is going to play out. Of course, a reminder, Oregon is UTSA's pick, so we would expect them to come out in force here tonight. But if Texas A&M can find that answer, if they can counter some strong UTSA play, we are could be very well in for a grind of a night. This one is going to be a scrap fest to say the least. Now, if we take a look at our collegiate power rankings, UTSA, they sit nestled at the number 8 spot, and Texas A&M at number 9. These two teams are as evenly matched as you could get in every possible way. On paper, you've got some incredible players to watch out for. Fear of God is one player I have in mind on Texas A&M, and Ton would be the player that I would be watching on UTSA. Ton is one of those players recognized in the community as one of those top stars in collegiate, and one of those players that if they're in their groove, it will be a surefire victory for UTSA. But Black Air Force and Fear of God, they are going to be looking to answer on back. They are going to be looking to counter this strong UTSA force. So going into Oregon, as our ban phase now wraps on up, we can see exactly what kind of match in for. Habana, the first ban. Zero to follow her up, and Mira will follow that as well. Those black mirrors will not come into effect here.
The last ban will roll out. It's going to be a Valkyrie ban here, kind of a interesting ban, clearly signaling that they don't want any free information and they don't want to have to deal with bringing out an IQ. So very smart play. Clearly a read into how both of these teams want to play. So I'm very excited to see where we also land up on this first map. It could be the bottom floor or the top floor site, but no, we're actually going to go to a kitchen dining site. This is something that we rarely ever see as the primary bomb site.
That we are. We're going to see it mixed up early on. We're going to see Texas A&M trying to run the gamut here, trying to catch UTSA off guard because any advantage they can get over UTSA, they will take absolutely. Like I said earlier, UTSA came out ahead in that scrap that was that week 1 battle between these two teams, but Texas A&M, they have been grinding since then, and now they have a chance to prove everyone that their grind has paid off, that they are ready to come out of the shadows and take a power position at the head of Collegiate Rainbow Six Siege. And round number 1, changing it up here, going to kitchen and dining is what Texas A&M hope will do exactly that. In terms of our operator picks, we don't see anything crazy. We do see Nexon going with the Twitch, so bringing the F2 into play as well as those Twitch drones. But for the rest of the lineup, we've got those 2 hard breachers, BZ and Zyra, bringing those hard breach gadgets. On the side of our defense, Fear of God picking up that Jaeger roll, and Praise bringing that smoke, the M590, and those toxic babes to boot.
Clearly, they want to set up for more of a vertical presence here, but one thing I do want to notice is that that wall into the dining room is soft still. We don't normally see this because that is typically the one place that a team will want to reinforce, just to apply a little bit of pressure and waste some utility from the attack. I don't necessarily know if I like that it is soft, but as I speak, they actually just reinforce it. So it makes a lot of sense. And it looks like it's going to be a East take coming in for this attack. And this makes a lot of sense. This is where you can clear out the top floor and just get rid of these defenders that are hiding up here. This is going to be the apex point. They have to get rid of everybody and everything near and in front of them.
This vertical play, like you said, Vial, that will be the crux of this round. That'll be the early skirmishes. How can Chief and Fear of God stall out this aggressive attack that UTSA are now bringing from the trophy and the master side? Fear of God takes a few shots at that drone, but unable to actually connect those shots, and is now wary of the push that's coming in from Master, but it's the C4 from below to take down BZ, but Zyra with the immediate decisive refrag, removing Black Air Forces from the board, keeping it even in a 4v4 now. Chief and Nexon trading a bit of shots either way, but Chief will now back off, knowing that if they just play time, this will be a very successful vertical extension. You can drop down a hatch, you can scurry away in those final moments, and it would be a job well done. But now Tun and Nexon are on the hunt. They are trying to find these players in kids, but of course easier said than done. But the Jaeger will present himself to the Ash, and they will be taken down. Tun and Nexon will cease that vertical control and will take it decisively. It's up to Praise, and it is up to Jinro to find 4 aggressive attackers now with just about a minute 10 seconds to go.
Now all left down to Hinro. It's now easy money. He gets Praise, and that's the first pick off the board now for him. Well, the question is, what does Hinro elect to do? It's going to fall to Nexon. That's the first round on the board for UTSA. And a very dominant win. They were able to get rid of everybody in the top floor and then just use that vertical pressure to their advantage. So hats off to them, clearing off their checklist as they needed to do. But we can't count Texas A&M out of this round or out of this map just yet, because it's just the first round and it didn't look as dominant as I thought it was going to.
I mean, it was a very good attack from UTSA. They took that vertical control decisively, and they really just did not slow down from that point forward. And that's something that can happen if you devote so much defensive resources to that vertical hold, is if you're not careful. You will lose those players early, waste that utility, waste their lives, and the attackers will have ample time to get the pressure onto the site itself. That's what happened there for Texas A&M, and they're going to have to remedy that if they're going to want to find some tertiary bomb site success in the future. But for now, our focus now heads to the basement. It is supply room and laundry that are now the focus of this round, and we're going to have to pay attention exactly how both of these teams want to play this. Jinro will now be electing to bring the Echo into play rather than the Goyo or the Maestro. We're going to see that Echo. So similar intel gathering operator, but definitely a little bit of a different role with an inferior gun compared to the Alda.
The other thing is that since that buff, as we talked about it before, rather than nerf for those Echo drones, is that they are now visible no matter what. They play a very vital part in this attack, because you can spot them. It's not that big of a deal if there is an Echo, because you can just get rid of them. I've been always arguing, saying that you can keep one in your pocket if you're going to be the last one alive, or you can use one or both of them as active utility, sort of like a Clash or a Pulse. It's just some theory crafting as I like to put it together, but we're going to see them go, or at least elect to start putting pressure on that J bunker, but UTSA wants to take some more time and clear out tower. It's a very split push here. They're being very methodical with their clear.
And they're going to have to transfer some of that methodic clear eventually into that on-site pressure, but with only 30 seconds burned in the round, they can take their sweet time clearing out every single possible position. You have to be aware that there could be a roamer hiding out, and we talked about it in our previous series that those roamers on Oregon can be quite impactful if not dealt with effectively. But without much of a roam presence, UTSA have had no issue taking map control, and now it's on to the basement. What are they going to do, and how is that exact take going to go down? We're going to see BZ here opening up this E-box hatch. That'll allow that pressure into pillar to start to mount and force that player out of there. Easy Money will be looking for some action there, but nothing will present itself as Black Air Forces is fully aware that a push is coming down Freezer Stairs. At least a drone from Zyra and Tun will be working their way in from that side. One interesting point to note here is that we're not seeing any blue pressure come into the J bunker whatsoever, and that has enabled Praise to just hang out in blue and just wait for the push to come in, and that could be quite effective if, you know, the blue rotate is used. Oh my goodness, quite a shot there from Tun, taking out the head of Chief, so UTSA kicking things off in style here now with the man advantage with 1:10 remaining.
Well, first off, beautiful shot, let's just say that. But like you said, that blue hold is going to prove to be very vital, especially since no one is applying any pressure. But I'd also argue the opposite, that since there is no pressure being applied, it doesn't matter if he holds it because it doesn't give them any advantage. My hero now is downed, and now Fear of God is now stuck in a very bad position because he is going to fall to Nexon. Nexon finds two. Crazy. He can find one very quickly if his shotgun ranks true, but no, it won't. He's going to have to switch off to that SMG-11 right now. He's going to find a few to ring true, but the diffuser is going to go down. Nexon with the triple kill finishes off the round, and UTSA looking strong through 2 rounds.
A beautiful execute. That was a textbook attack. Very impressive from UTSA. Clearly, the coaching is paid off. They have got the strats, and they are executing it very well. That was a perfect map clear. They took map control. From there, they pushed Freezer. They pushed Laundry at the same time. They got that crossfire, and they took down every defender that stood in their path. Beautiful play from everyone on that team. Nexon at the helm. 5-0 already, putting up some pretty impressive numbers so far. So that's 2 successful attacking rounds. Texas A&M, they remain on the back foot. They are still searching for their first defensive victory, so far proving pretty elusive. They're going to head back to Laundry and Supply Room in hopes to change things up and find some hope in bringing this one back. But I gotta say, BL, that last round, there wasn't much of a fluke there. That was UTSA, a clinical, surgical approach to that site, which was never delayed whatsoever. Texas A&M failed to get the traction on that defense, so the changes that they're going to have to bring here are going to need to be substantial if they want to get this round.
I think they have to apply a bit more of an aggressive change because you saw them play extremely passive onto site. And then you saw UTSA completely swarm everywhere. They went from top down on the entire map, cleared it surgically like you said, and they couldn't do anything else. They weren't able to rotate off the site. They had all their flanks watched. They had claymores down on any rotates, and the areas and avenues that they elected to come through, they were just cleanly winning all the gunfights that they needed to. So I think the only way for Texas A&M to really prove, or rather get a little bit more traction in this round, especially on this site, play a bit more aggressive. Force them to waste some time and actually clear your roam. Maybe you even find yourself a free pick, which maybe is what Fear of God wants to do. He's going to be playing all the way down by bathroom, shoots a drone, so now he's going to get spotted out, and this is where the mind games play in. He has to get droned out once again, maybe once or twice more, and he can shoot a few more, kill the drone economy, maybe find a pick, and he wastes plenty of time. However, with 2 minutes left, no one is really searching for him right now. They know where he is, it seems like, and they don't really want to force that gunfight. However, BZ up here, the Thermite, the only hard breacher they have right now, actually I take that back, I didn't notice the ace, could fall very quickly, but he's going to check every corner, not sure where he is. So they're just going to elect to take some time, wait where they are.
And with a minute burned, Fear of God is comfortable remaining nestled in small tower, and I do not believe they have been droned out just yet. So the Mozzie can hang out there, and using some drone work that Mozzie has now grabbed could be pretty effective at a potential flank later in this round. Tun knows that there might be a player on this side, but is not certain as to their location, so is ever so careful to enter on through. But now Fear of God looking for where these attackers are positioned. Now the Twitch, that's Nexon, who has been spotted. Now it is known where these attackers are pushing from. It seems like it's going to be quite a similar take. The difference between this round and last is that map control is not comfortably in the hands of UTSA yet. Fear of God has done a great job to, well, put the fear of God in these attackers and make them look at every possible angle they could be flanked from, because they're nervous. They don't know where this Mozzie is, but they know that he knows exactly where they are attacking from. But for now, they're not paying attention to the flank. They're going straight into this freezer take.
Minute left here, or under a minute left to go in this round, and now that really plays into a factor is Fear of God. This is going to prove to be a very, very valuable flank. The Echo Drone will come in, and he's going to get the diffuser down as well. That's going to prove to be a very vital spot. And though Nexon will find one back, Tinro fall. Now the C4 will sit on the diffuser. Don't know if it went off just yet, but easy money will fall as well. He will try to go in. That is Nexon. Crazy finds one back. It's a 3v3 with one down as well. Now effectively a 2, or actually a 1v3. Somehow UTSA have pulled this back. However, they have to get this diffuser down. And the question is, where do they elect to push it? Black Air Forces, he finds one back. His third kill on this matchup. But they know exactly where he is. He elects to swing out, trying to get the pre-fire, but easy money gets the wall bang onto his head. And UTSA, third round in a row.
Another brilliant attack round for UTSA. That time, Texas A&M found what looked like it was going to be enough for them to take that round, but UTSA, they held on strong, and they just got those frags as the frags were being delivered their way as well. A brilliant flank from Fear of God, but that is all it was. A simple flank that netted one kill, and that was not enough to net the round for Texas A&M. 3 in a row. No site appears to be safe just yet for Texas A&M to hold down, so they will be going to the site that they have not seen just yet, kids and dorms. They're going to have to try to make this one happen. Otherwise, there is no stopping UTSA from storming ahead to a decisive victory here on Oregon. They look good right now. Clearly, Nexon is warmed up, getting tons of frags, and praise will find the headshot onto their teammate. The M590 gonna take down the SAS Brethren, and a critical error that will likely be no help to Texas A&M in round number 4.
I hate to crack a joke, but I think that might be the fastest kill ever in CR6 history. I could be wrong, but I believe that may be the fastest kill ever. So hats off to Praise finding that. However, that's going to prove to be a very, very huge blunder, especially since you're down already 3-0, and you don't want to go 4-0. However, there's one thing that they can do is bring this back. Now, JC, if there is one way for them to bring this back and find a way, especially with a man down, how do you expect them to win this round?
At this point, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Chief gone off the board early. That's definitely a problem. You never like to fight from a 4v5 position, but you have Jinro playing the Clash. Maybe the Clash is what you needed. Maybe that was the solution that you just hadn't found quite yet, and Texas A&M can use Clash to not only provide that help like a fifth man would, just blocking a doorway or sealing off a particular direction, but it's easy money challenging on the roamer, and it's going to be over for Fear of God just like that. Texas A&M, they were hoping that some early aggression could bring them back from the Chief loss, but in fact, it is going to only further the destruction already delivered at the hands of UTSA. Now a 5 versus 3, the man advantage firmly in the hands of the Road Runners, and now all they need to do is continue that pressure onto site. They know where Black Air Forces is. They know there's only 2 more defenders to contest on the site, so this aggression is no doubt going to mount.
Black Air Forces wanting to bait out his own position and maybe find an early pick to get his team back in some type of advantage. Maybe an angle advantage rather, but it doesn't matter because Nexon's going to win that gunfight outright. The Malusi charge will give away his position. However, in row and praise, 2 players left in this scenario. A 2v5 almost looks unwinnable. However, He might be able to pull it off. Praise finds the first one. SMG-11 rings true once again onto the head. And we're going to see BZ finish that off, and Easy Money will clean up that round. Not the flawless round that they were hoping for, but it was damn near close.
That it was. Of course, losing Chief so early definitely helped UTSA in their attack, but regardless, it was a very solid attack that really was furthered by just brilliant UTSA pushes, brilliant shots from Nexon in that push up White Stairs, and no matter the man count for Texas A&M, it seems that this attack cannot be slowed down. We are now sitting at a 4-0 scoreline. And keep in mind, this is Oregon on attack, 4-0, and well, it's not unprecedented, but it sure is not common. Clearly, these attackers, UTSA, they are ahead of the game. They've got what it takes right now, and they are going to continue to storm ahead and continue to make Texas A&M, feel their presence.
I would argue that this matchup actually is very, I guess you can say, kind of surprising. I don't think anybody was expecting a 4-0 coming out within the first few rounds, especially not in favor of the attack of UTSA. That doesn't speak volumes on... actually, that should speak volumes on how well UTSA is playing right now. That's not to say that they aren't good, but that's just to say they're playing very, very well right now. So, granted, it is their map pick, so maybe that does play a factor. Maybe that switches up when we hit on to the next map, which will be, of course, Texas A&M's map pick. Or maybe it just stays true and the momentum will favor UTSA. However, we can't theorycraft that map just yet. We still have to stick on to this one as we head down back to the bottom floor site. And Nexon, the player who's 7-2, forget about a gun in his hand. He wants to bring a shield. What do you think about this, JZ?
Well, I think it just exudes confidence. That's clearly what Nexon is feeling right now. Really feeling good and looking to just be as belligerent as possible to this Texas A&M defense and really just make them tilted as much as possible, I guess. I mean, coming up against a blitz when you're really not expecting a play like that in competitive Siege can be quite frustrating, especially as Nexon is working their way down already, going straight for this Laundry push, droning all the way into Laundry, identifying that there's not much in the way of a hold there. But Black Air Forces, they know that this roam can be effective. But will it work out this time? Oh, the headshot was missed. Such an easy opportunity, but Easy Money will not get down. Only about 25, 35 HP lost. And there's the shots. What a play from Easy Money. Unfortunate from Black Air Forces, not able to make that happen. A almost free situation, but the timing of that was unfortunate. The Jackal with a brilliant shot will make Easy Money now 6-0, putting up incredible numbers and putting UTSA now on the advantage once again.
It just looks like they're just... I really have no other way to say it, but it looks like they're just playing better than Texas A&M right now. Granted, they still have plenty of time left in this round to play, and they can still bring this, not only this map around, and this round still back around. So, we're going to see a similar push when the last time they came down here. We're going to see a split push, 1 or 2 into Freezer. And Nexon, he is all the way in. He wants all that smoke, as some would say, and he wants to bait them in. He's going to get the first kill, but no! He actually gets killed by Praise. The man advantage now in favor of this defense. What a turnaround here for Texas A&M.
Well, that turnaround, Nexon just walked on through and got shot in the face with the M590 after that melee knocked his shield back, but now Tun in the freezer with full HP is looking to answer back, as is Beezy, who finds the head of one, now looking for more as he swings on the corner, but nobody presenting themselves to them as actually Fear of God will find Easy Money, and then Beezy hits the floor, as will Tun. Chief with a 3K on the round. Texas A&M will find their first defensive round win, making it a 4-1 split now.
What a beautiful turnaround there from Chief, finding the first frag and having the awareness to just immediately 180 onto the player coming in from Freezer, landing the headshot, and there we go. That's their first round on the board. This could be the turning tides, and they have to pick up this one if they want to at least stay remotely competitive in this matchup here. Because if UTSA picks up this next round, which will be the last round of this half, of course, they swap over to defense, and I get extremely scared for Texas A&M.
I would agree. I think if it's 5-1 at that point, it's a pretty much lost, especially when you're on attack. I would maybe consider it lost at this point, but I'm not going to count Texas A&M out of it. Just that last round, they proved that they have what it takes to take a round or two off of UTSA. Sure, UTSA decided to get a bit crazy with it. They brought the blitz, and I'm sure that's a play that the homie Miggs is going to be looking back at and maybe give Nexon the finger and be like, hey, man, that is not what you need to be doing right now. But regardless, it was a interesting attempt that proved unsuccessful for UTSA, giving Texas A&M their first round win. And they're going to be looking to continue that momentum, hopefully find another round win over on this Kids and Dorm site. But UTSA looked so strong attacking this site the last time around, and they are going to do it once again. The blitz has been replaced by a Thatcher, a more viable operator to say the least.
5 seconds left.
Well, viable, I believe all operators are viable in some sense and some strategy. However, at least in terms of how UTSA is playing, a Thatcher definitely provides a lot more utility and a lot more of a fragging potential on a man like Nexon rather than the Blitz. Blitz, of course, can be a fragger, but it's very rare that you see a Blitz go off, as some would say. Ton being aware of any peekers coming in and wanting to not get his head blown off at all. So they're electing to take some time, and they're going to drone every bit of this corner of the map out. They don't want to lose this next round, because if they win this one, like we said before, this map is very close to calling it a loss, just because UTSA seems to be playing a lot better than Texas A&M right now. And this goes for their roam clear as well. They have control of armor right now. It doesn't look like they're being contested hotly in other portions of the map.
Well, with 1 minute burned, Fear of God is still very comfortable being downstairs, and Nexon will find the head of praise, not wasting any time to open things up for UTSA in a pretty big way here. Fear of God now fully exposed by the footsteps. The Jackal scan has gone on down, and Fear of God will be rotating away. But Easy Money, catching the Jaeger off guard, will actually take more damage than he dealt. And now the Jaeger aggressing, looking to find more damage onto the Jackal, but no shots will land. The dance back and forth continues outside Meeting Hall, but both players just waiting for the other to push, and neither bearing any fruit just yet. Ton taking quite a bit of damage, as will Black Air Forces. The challenge on to his position. Ton is still outside the main lobby here, trying to cut off any possible rotate from a roamer, but Beezy, having opened up this closet wall, is looking to get that pressure onto the site. Finally, the Jaeger will be cut down. The roam clear from Easy Money proves successful. Nexon, the smoke had no idea, so Nexon finds that kill and the triple kill on the round for the Thatcher. It is all up to the Mozzie with 2 HP. The C4 will not bear any fruit, and Ton will now be locking off the white stairs, and that will be Beezy, who ends the life of Black Air Forces, and it will be UTSA. A flawless round and a nearly flawless path. 5-1 attack on Oregon. Simply an incredible performance early on in this series.
Now, granted, I think we do have to say this is UTSA's map pick, so maybe they do, have this like a back pocket, kind of like a pocket ace. Who knows? This makes a lot of sense, at least in terms of their map pick, and they are playing lights out. However, I do get scared when I see teams start to waver, especially when it comes down to a team that we expect to be a bit bigger and a bit more of a stronger matchup. However, it could just come down to the map, as I just mentioned before, and I'm very excited to see the rest of this play out, because who knows, we could see a reverse sweep happen on this side of the map. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but the momentum is definitely in favor of UTSA.
I would have to agree. 5-1 on attack is, well, not unprecedented, but not common to say the least. I mean, UTSA clearly coming out to play here on their map pick of Oregon, and Texas A&M have not had the answer that they are continuing to search for here. And on attack, I wouldn't expect things to change up. I would expect UTSA to continue to run away with this, but of course, Texas A&M they're a strong team. They've got that 9th spot on that power rankings chart. Not for no reason at all. They have been playing well. They have been putting up strong performances and taking down teams just like UTSA. But UTSA right now, at least in round number 7, looking at our scoreline, are clearly the dominant roster. And Texas A&M, they're going to have to find an answer. And Ton, on this roam, as the Malusi, is going to be looking to stall out that answer as much as possible.
I do wonder about that type of roam because Malusi, yes, she does give you plenty of passive utility, especially in terms of how you want to play, but she could easily get spot out here, and it looks like Black Air Force might have heard something, but who knows? Not exactly sure. Electing to go and worry about the other portion of the map that they have to clear, which would be that wall. Finds a pick on BZ, clearly getting too curious for his own crosshair. Falls very early on in this round. 2 minutes still left to go, and they still have to clear out a majority of the map, as most of them are outside still.
Well, Easy Money and Ton are trying to stall out this push from this main stairs and up that Armory staircase, rather. And it's going to be, of course, easier said than done. The pressure now mounting from Garage and from that main lobby. Easy Money could be caught out here if the rotation is cut off from the main stairs there. Black Air Force is looking for a head, but it will not be presented just yet. Ton has now rotated into Meeting Hall, but a player that is going to be the Nomad Praise, the next to challenge on this position. Ton has been spotted out, and he knows it, and he's got to pre-fire the doorway, but the crossfire was established, and Black Air Forces removes the over-aggressing roamer of Ton. So now a minute 15 remain, and the next player to deal with will be Easy Money. Easy Money has an opportunity to rotate back to site here, but not anymore now that Jinro has locked off this rotation by going onto that armory window. So now Easy Money needs to just play time or find some picks here. Otherwise, this could get very scary for UTSA very quickly. Easy Money will do exactly that, though. He'll find one, but eventually be taken down for their troubles. Jinro will capitalize, and Zyro will hit the floor, making it a pseudo 1 versus 4 now.
The time is still on the favor of the defenders right now, at least for the time being. Nexon not going to be able to get up his teammate, so he's going to have to 1v4 clutches. Maybe play off time and maybe find where that plant is going down and get that very, very early and quick pick. So they have to scramble for it and then not know exactly what to do. And they still aren't aggressive on the site because they don't know exactly what's going on with Nexon or with Zara. They don't know if they are down yet or not, but it doesn't matter. Black Air Force is going to take him down, and that's going to be the round now in favor of Texas A&M. Black Air Forces, I believe, with a triple on the round.
Yeah, brilliant performance there all around from Texas A&M. I do believe UTSA, they didn't really need to play those aggressive positions as they were. Their defenders holding those positions until the end, all of them dying, or 3 of them rather, dying off site when they could have indeed gone back and played time. That strategy not working out for UTSA in that particular round. Texas A&M, they had a good performance there. They really just shut down methodically every single offsite player, and eventually that enabled them to walk on into the site with only 1 player left to deal with, as Zyro had been down, I believe, on that Echo roll. So a brilliant attack, but they're going to need to chain more together if they want to mount this comeback. UTSA, they're on that precipice of getting to that match point opportunity, and they are looking to go ahead and do that by heading back to Kids and Dorms once again.
I don't know if I necessarily like them coming back here. Granted, their over-aggression really, they paid the price for it, so maybe they elect to play a little bit more passive, which, again, could also just be their downfall, depending on if they give Texas A&M too much space to work with. But right now, I think that might be the initial plan for them to do, is to play a little bit less aggressive. But as I look at that, it looks like Ton will elect to still be on the roam game. Makes a lot of sense. He's one of your more aggressive players, and you want him to be aggressive, especially on a Malusi, who is more or less classified as a roamer nowadays. It's very, it's, at least in my terms, and when I watch a Malusi, it's very rare that you don't see her on a roam game.
That is a fair point, and Ton will be doing exactly what you said, Bial. I mean, playing that same position as last time over in Meeting Hall could prove effective this time, but last time it was more of an issue rather than a blessing. It didn't really work out too well for Ton. The crossfire established from Split and from that door facing the tower in Meeting Hall, unable to prevent an easy death. So now Fear of God droning in from this master side. Looks like the take is going to change up a little bit. Maybe go for less of that strict roam clear and go for more of a direct site push, knowing that they may have to deal with quite a bit of off-site pressure. Here's your default strategy that we talked about earlier in that first series. That crossfire established on games by opening up attic and closet. And Fear of God will open up the scoreboard and take one of those UTSA defenders off the board. BZ is the first one to fall.
Minute 45 still left to play in this round. Still plenty of wiggle room here for this defensive UTSA. Even though that does seem like, oh, a beautiful shot from Zara. Just a wonderful flick on Jinro. However, Black Air Forces finds one back, so the man advantage still in favor of this attack. Ton, however, could be on a very, very good flank as he wants to find Praise, who is the lone nomad. Doesn't have the diffuser, so he can't lock down anybody, at least effectively. But Black Air Forces now knows, due to that drone being shot by Ton, that Ton is downstairs and might want to find a pick so they don't get flanked later on. However, the time is going to be a factor very, very soon and very quickly if Texas A&M isn't careful of where they are putting their players.
Ton is now looking for that frag, nearly missed the shots onto Praise. The stuns rain on through as now all of the attackers are focused on removing this Malusi. The double swing will bear its fruit as Praise and Chief will deliver those frags, and it is all up to the Echo. It is Zyra left alone in a 1v4. Missing the shots on the ace, vaulting into games. Now the diffuser going down. Zyra looking for the shots, finds one, but has to find three more, and the swing has been had from Black Air Forces, and Zyra hits the floor. Texas A&M back-to-back a successful attacking rounds. We may be on our way to see a very attacker-sided Oregon.
Well, right now it definitely seems like the attacker side is just a lot more concentrated and heavy for both of these teams. It seems like the defenses have not been able to find any traction. For what reason it may be. It may be the over-aggression of both of these teams. It may be the ineptitude to pick when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. So I really don't know what else to say. It seems like this just happens to be an attacker-sided Oregon right now. However, I do want to focus on one thing, and it is that both of these teams have replayed sites that they lose, and sometimes that bodes well if it's a simple fix. If it's just play less aggressive, if it's we weren't able to win our gunfights, let's retry that site. However, every single time that they lost the site and replayed it, it seemed as if they didn't know what to fix. They just wanted to try it again and see what might stick. So I do like that they are going to go to this bottom floor site rather than try that top floor.
I think you make a great point. And there's also one other point I want to mention about that last round and how perfectly Texas A&M mounted their attack and their roam clear. It's not every day you see a team devote a lot of resources to what looks like it's going to be an execute on the site, and then when they realize there's a pesky roamer hanging out below, that was Ton in that previous round, they reallocated all of their resources. They moved downstairs, established a crossfire, had 3 attackers immediately on the case, droning out and fragging out the Malusi. It was a brilliant pivot mid-round to remove Ton and to then shift that pressure back to the site. It was very efficient, and because of that, it's the sole reason they were able to find so much success in that round. A near nitro cell disaster for Black Air Forces, but we'll shoot it out before the Mozzie had a chance to detonate it. So now Nexon will be rotating back to the safety of their teammates. Now with 2 minutes and 20 seconds in this round, the attackers already starting to get the drone work going, starting to get this pressure mounting onto the J bunker.
J bunker, a classic hold and take for both teams, electing to try and use a smoke typically at the end of this bunker with ADSs or live frisbees, as we like to call them sometimes, to try and make sure they can't take this foothold into an attacker's side. However, BZ elects to fall back and fake as if he was going to reinforce. Now he elects to actually reinforce, giving that freedom and liberty for this attack. However, they have to get rid and open up this wall and the reinforcements. That's going to be a bigger task than getting action, or rather than clearing someone out. Ton not able to land any shots, I believe, onto who wasn't Black Forces. And actually, no, he did lose a little bit of HP. I take that back. And the only question is, who is going to get caught out of position? And that's going to be next. In Fear of God, he has no fear. He's going to go all the way through, finding himself a double. Black Air Forces gets one back as well. Beezy, he gets one. However, both of these players, they know exactly where they are. Fear of God finds a triple, but not able to find the third. But Chief will finish the round out. Texas A&M, they are coming all the way back as they secure their 4th round and their 3rd in a row.
Texas A&M looking quite strong on this attack. That was another very clean attacking round. There was nothing crazy about that one. It was simply Texas A&M winning their gunfights, pushing on in, and not being slowed down one bit by this UTSA defense. I think UTSA all of a sudden realized what they're dealing with. Going ahead, 5-1. They had all the confidence in the world. But 3 rounds in a row now, that confidence has been destroyed. It has been stepped on and removed from play right now. So we are resetting. It is now Texas A&M. They have the momentum. They have the confidence. And all they have to do is continue to apply that, because UTSA do not seem to have an answer for this all of a sudden Texas A&M really coordinated attacking front. You got to give it up to Texas A&M for really just bringing it back after it looking so dire at the first half. But now, sitting at 5-4, it is anyone's game. And if UTSA are not careful, Texas A&M may continue to walk all over them here. Vial, I know you mentioned this before, the repeat site. After going to dorms twice unsuccessfully, it's now going to be the basement site once again, after that first unsuccessful attempt. What are they going to change up? We are going to have to find it out, as it looks like this setup is largely the same. The operator selection, nothing much different going on here. So now it's just all about making some change during the round to stall out this aggression that Texas A&M are very happy to bring to the table here.
Granted, they lost due to a very, very well-timed push coming in from Fear of God. However, when it comes down to pushes like that, you have to be aware of it. And yes, you can replay a site, but your formation is no different. There is no different to how you set up. And I use the word formation because it's kind of like how regular sports teams play. If we look at a sport like soccer, how we have multiple teams with multiple formations, how they can change up how they want to play and where certain players play depending on what team you play against and how you're going to play against. But speaking of playing against, it won't be Fear of God. He won't be able to finish this round or maybe get another triple. He's going to fall to the toxic babe of Beezy. And now the man advantage for UTSA. And this could put them on the forefront for maybe a match point. However, they have to find this roamer who is running around. It's easy money. He is electing to go all the way back down to site, not lose an early engagement, which could put his team at a disadvantage. And with 1:40 left on the clock, still plenty of things left to do for Texas A&M. Plenty of time to complete it.
Well, they do have plenty of time, but they've lost a big gunner, Fear of God, and they've lost a good amount of utility on that J bunker push that has proved unsuccessful so far. And now that pressure has shifted to this E-box hatch, and Ton is just searching for the head of this pesky Maverick who refuses to be spotted out, and this E-box hatch has now been open wide. Now Nexon getting quite aggressive here on the J bunker, gonna swing, find 1 and 2 on the drone. Black Air Force is caught off guard. The double kill for Nexon has now put them in a huge advantageous position. It's up to Praise and Jinro to crawl back and hopefully get something going for Texas A&M, but it will not be in the cards for them. Ton finds the headshot onto 1, and now Praise will be walking into an onslaught of gunfire that Ton with the 416 is laying down towards the tower stairs. At this point, it is hopeless, but Praise does have that KD. With 40 seconds to go, 1 kill is delivered onto Ton, making Praise go 5 and 5 at this point. But with 30 seconds to go in this round, the diffuser out of pocket and an Echo drone comfortably sitting above, Praise has now been cut down, as good as dead, and easy money finishing it off. UTSA will take a defensive round, their first defensive round, and now they have the ability to take it to match point and possibly go home with a Oregon victory.
A very, very good read there coming in from Nexon. Nexon needed to push his way through and clearly saw something or must have heard something that gave him the advantage. So he elected to push through, and hats off to him for that read.
I agree. That was a brilliant decision there, and that definitely is what helped enable that swift and rather easy victory in those closing seconds. Essentially a flawless round, the free pick on Ton. We're not going to really count that one as an impact frag. So it's 6-4. It's Texas A&M. They are on the back foot a little bit, but I'd argue they still definitely have the momentum on their side. They have taken 3 attacking rounds in a row, and they don't show much of a sign of slowing down. That last round definitely didn't go their way, but we're heading to the tertiary bomb site, and things can really change it up here. Maybe UTSA will catch Texas A&M off guard by not heading up to the kids and dorm site once again, or Texas A&M could very well run away with this particular round, at least, by getting this pressure on to the site. But we've talked about it before, Vial. The vertical hold is going to be so crucial. It's a hold that is very easy to get wrong. If you're a defender, you can overstay your welcome, or you can back off too early. It's all about finding that perfect balance that enables you to win these rounds on these tertiary bomb sites.
It's also this site, you have to play it as if you were playing upstairs bomb site, because if you do, it allows you to get some early picks on and have a very big foothold in the entirety of the round. You can play off of each other, you can help each other from both sides. If somebody elects to just be very aggressive and push on the downstairs site, you can just help them from upstairs. Or rather, if someone elects to get extremely aggressive upstairs, you can either fall back or send somebody to help them upstairs and maybe find yourself a free pick or two. So it's a very good idea to play both of these sites basically as if it were one.
I think that is a fantastic point, and it is something that Black Air Forces is well underway in trying to eliminate. Fear of God joining the Ash here, trying to get this top-down pressure going, but of course, that vertical hold is going to make that a lot easier said than done. But the crossfire is well underway and being established. This attic pressure is mounting from both Praise and Jinro, and Easy Money and Ton are here locking this one down, but a 5-stack push is what they have in store. They got to be quite careful here not to over-aggress, or the attackers actually have to be careful as well, making sure they know exactly where these defenders are positioned. Praise will know where Ton is, and Ton takes quite a bit of damage and is forced to fall off that position. It is actually Nexon, the first player to fall. That Jaeger being cut down early, and Chief with another will take down Ton. And now Easy Money hoping to get out of there alive, barely escaping with their life, but Black Air Forces, a quick response, running over to that hatch and removing the Goyo. So just like that, Texas A&M, a 5 versus 2 advantage. It is all but over for UTSA in this particular round, but Zyra and BZ will do their best to claw this one back. But that is not going to be easy against an attacking team that is just absolutely dominant in taking map control.
It was an extremely attacker-sided map, and it still is technically, especially because we are on the cusp of seeing a round 12. Even after a 5-1 split, we are so close to seeing a 12th round, which I did not expect to happen, especially since Texas A&M is just clawing this back in significant fashion. There we go, a flawless round for Texas A&M, and I guess the only thing we can say is that this is an attacker-sided map right now.
For some reason, Oregon, it's just playing out very attacker-sided tonight. But it is like that sometimes. Sometimes it just plays out like this. One night, it will be defensive-sided, and the other, the attackers will seemingly run away with it all. 5-1 split on that first half, and we are well underway for it possibly being another 5-1 split here. But match point is still in the cards. It is not over, and Texas A&M, they are not out of the woods just yet. They still need another round to force overtime, and UTSA could very well get a hold of this defense. They could really zone it in right now and take the map, but I would not be surprised if Texas A&M put on a repeat performance and put on another round to force an overtime here.
Yeah, and then we would have the reverse sweep of a 5-1 for both attacker sides. And that's something that we don't see happen very often, let alone on Oregon, on any map. It's just very rare that we see a reverse sweep for a map come out, especially in terms of their splits. So, UTSA want to negate that. They want to make sure that they can lock this down, and it seems like a similar lineup coming in for this team. It doesn't look any different
10 seconds
from
to
when they did
insertion.
it last time. So the only question is, what is their adjustment? Do they play less passive, or
5
rather
seconds
more
left
passive?
before
Do they
insertion.
play more aggressive? Do they have a bigger roam game? What is the adjustment that this
objective is
team
to
is
locate
going
a
to
bomb
have?
and defuse
And
it.
that's my biggest question for them right now.
I think that's a fantastic question, and one that both of these teams are going to answer in this coming round. But exactly how it plays out, it's going to be up to Easy Money here to kick things off in style. Easy Money now holding a position in Classroom, but the pressure is going to build from this main door, but the drone work is coming down first. So Easy Money smartly backing off. A Jackal pushing in is not what you want to deal with, not to mention you got the C7E, a powerful weapon, and you can know exactly where the Jaeger is positioned with a little bit of that gadget, seeing those footprints there. But here, as a minute is nearly gone in this round, we are seeing Texas A&M methodically take control, or at least suss out where these defenders are positioned. They
A
don't
bomb
quite
has been
know just
located.
yet, but Easy Money has been scanned by the Jackal and has been forced back to site. This is the adjustment from UTSA that I think they needed here. Don't over aggress on that roam. Stay out of meetings. Stay out of some unnecessary power positions in hopes of stalling out that a final 5-man
Bomb
push
located by
in those
attacker.
closing seconds of the round. That early adjustment has been made, and so far it has worked because Texas A&M are using ample time off this clock to drone out every part of the map simply because they know UTSA likes to hold an extended roam.
Extended roam, they won't be able to hold. However, they will put a force hold into this match as another pick will ring out in favor of Nexon. He gets his 13th on this map alone, and that's Fear of God off the board. That's a fragger that they really could have used, as well as some utility from the Zofia for this round. However, this is not out of the realm for Texas A&M just yet, because Nexon on low HP, and plenty of operators that they don't have to deal with, and Beezy's gonna lose that engagement, at least in terms of HP. Black Air Forces, he is going to not win that engagement outright, at least as of yet. And they're running low on time here. They have to get these walls open with the remaining utilities that they can. Summer charges are the last thing on the board for them to do, and now it's a TV screen size window for them to get everything open. Do they know that BZ is right here? It doesn't look like they do. However, the impact will get that summer charge, so they don't know exactly where he is. BZ, or rather Easy Money, excuse me, not able to land the shots. That could be a huge blunder. Chief lands that first one. However, the trade will come in. Black Air Forces is down. That's another fragger. Praise gets one back as well. 20 seconds left on the clock. It's a do or die moment here for Texas A&M. They have to get themselves onto site immediately. Praise, he's still sending down the air jabs. He wants to get one down. That's a beautiful air jab, getting in for the kill. But Zara, he gets
10
one back.
seconds left.
The plant is going down. The C4, will it ring true? Yes, it does. And that will most likely be the
5
timer.
seconds to go.
Praise, he has to get this diffuser down, and he has to make sure he doesn't die. However, the pick rings in, able to get the diffuser down,
Operators, you are out of
but
time.
the Echo drone will ring true once more, even though it can be spotted, still as deadly as it was before its nerf.
An incredible final round to close the map off in style. Oh my goodness, that one was back and forth. Some brilliant plays in those closing seconds. And we talked about it. The adjustment from UTSA there was perfect. It was what they needed to do. Get rid of that offsite extension. Bring everyone back to the site. You know that eventually it's going to be a 5-man push right on into your open arms. So just wait for them to do it and capitalize when they do. That is a great adjustment. Some good calls from the IGL there, knowing that 2 rounds, the same strategy didn't work. Changing it up and bringing something different, and that is exactly what enabled them to take that round win, and a round win that enabled them to take the map. Oregon was, of course, UTSA's map pick, and Villa, Texas A&M's pick, is next. And if this first map was any indicator of the type of siege we are going to see all series long, we could very well be going to all 3 maps. The next one, though, it's going to be close, and neither team has it home free just yet. We're going to go to a quick break, and we will see you in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Tonight we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain.
My own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas, oh you meant the world to me. Oh you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a wonderful matchup between Texas A&M versus UTSA. And I am Viel alongside my co-caster JZ, and a fantastic map number 1 onto Oregon we saw went all 12 rounds. But we're onto a new map now. We're onto Villa, which is Texas A&M's map pick now. And the first ban will be Zero. Now, JZ, we saw Zero banned out on the map before, and what do you take of this?
It's always good to see that Zero ban. Nobody really wants to deal with that amount of intel that he can bring any attacking team. You know, you have 10 drones. That's enough information for any team. Let's just take that Zero off the board. Taking that ace off the board as well is no surprise. You remove those pesky Selma charges, and you will not be able to open up the wall from range, similar to the way Habana works. So ace can be one of those very strong hard breachers, and on Villa, he is a common ban to be taken off. A more uncommon ban, though, is Vigil. You don't usually see the Vigil off the table, but having the Vigil gone will remove a little bit of that roam danger. The drones will be able to see every roamer that is around rather than the Vigil hiding from those cameras at every turn. And on Villa, the roam presence is so important. It's such a big map with so many buffer rooms and so many opportunities to roam. Clash, not a roamer, but the next player off the board to round out our ban phase and kick us into round number 1.
I don't want to say that this is necessarily like a bad ban phase, but it's definitely something that we don't see happen very, very often. We don't see Ace is one of those operators that we see get banned time and time again, depending on the map and depending on certain teams that play. Vigil, however, whether or not is integrated into a lineup or not, is one of the that we rarely see banned, if banned at all. So I don't know about this. Maybe this is something that, say, Texas A&M know exactly what they're going to do with a Vigil, so they wanted to get rid of it. Clash ban is a ban that, from time and time again, depending on certain teams, can prove to be a very big nuisance and pain in the you-know-what if you aren't careful and you don't check your corners.
Yeah, that is a great point. I'm going to also take this opportunity to remind everyone exactly what's at stake here, because this is the Premier Invite League play-ins. The winner of this match gets their spot in the Premier Invite League playoffs, which start with the round of 16, and the loser is relegated to, well, the season. That will be it for them. If Texas A&M lose this map, their winter 2020 season has concluded, but if they're able to take this map to their own, we will head to our decider map of Cafe, giving these teams one more map to scrap it out to see who will move on to the playoffs and who will be done for the season. We're going to have to take a look exactly how this map is going to start playing out. UTSA will be starting on the defense. This is, of course, Texas A&M's map pick. So UTSA elected to start on defense, which on Villa is no surprise. It often plays defensive-sided, especially at the T3 and collegiate levels, but recently it's been seeing more of an increase in that attacker-sided nature, especially because the meta is shifting a little bit in favor of the attackers. But by no means is it an attacker-sided map, and UTSA are going to be looking to get a few rounds under their belt going into that second half.
Don't know if you want to not call it an attacker-sided map with both of these teams, how they played on the last one. Who knows what could happen? And the first thing that is going to happen is a very early engagement. Praise is going to get sprayed on through the wall with easy money. And Nexon, they are going to apply some off-site pressure on this roam game. This makes a lot of sense because both of these teams want to put a foothold into the trophy room. This makes a lot of sense because if you are able to hold onto this trophy room and then delay some time, if you're the defense, you will just play a little bit better. You'll be able to know exactly where they're coming from. However, easy money falls very, very early on to Black Air Forces. That's not necessarily the operator, or rather the player, you want to lose to either one of your teams. We're back though, and 90 seconds left to go. And the man disadvantage for Texas A&M.
Attackers recover the diffuser.
And now with a minute 15 on this clock, you said they have that man advantage, and they do, and they're going to be looking to extend that onto the site. But Tun, with the Alda, will take the head of Black Air Forces and will make that push a bit harder. Nexon here peeking out towards landing and finds the shots with the MPX. Fear of God placed in his early grave, and now it's Texas A&M shifting to the back foot here, and a dastardly Maestro. That is Tun, hanging out in 90 Hall and refusing to back off. Jinro now pressuring here on to Study, hoping to get some traction here, but there is a Zyra using a punch hole in a cabinet to try to find this pick, but only a couple shots will land on the Habana, and Nexon will finish off Praise in the meantime. And now only 2 attackers remain against 4. Jinro exchanges some shots with BZ, but neither player comes out on top. It will be Tun who comes out on top in his engagement, removing Chief from play. Now a 1v4 with 20 seconds left. There isn't much that Jinro can do but die, and Zyra will close out the round, and UTSA will take their first defensive round in style.
And the first map point here for these two teams going in favor of UTSA. When it looked like a lot of the pressure was on them, they were able to turn it all the way back around. Texas A&M, they need to find some momentum once again as they did last map. They did not end the map with a score that they would like, of course. However, I would argue that they still played extremely well, and it's going to be up to them to maintain that same level of play and hopefully get a better scoreline, at least in terms of their favor. Now we're going to head to the trophy and statuary, and the only question is, how does UTSA elect to play this? Are they going to play this with active utility? And it looks like they are with the Pulse. They also are bringing in Echo, and the only question is, where are you going to place those Echo drones?
An interesting thing to pay attention to, I would agree. And also, it's going to be interesting to see how BZ is going to play this. I would assume that BZ is going to play below, using the pseudo wall hacks that the heartbeat sensor allows to identify the positions of the attackers pushing in from Master or from 90, and using the 3 C4s that Zyra, Easy Money, and BZ are bringing to the table, rain hell from below, the call center from hell, per se, to remove these attackers as they try to get the roam clear and get the pressure onto the site. There are multiple approaches that attackers generally use to take this site, but your default attacking strategy is approaching from the Study side. You go for that full south to north clear, working your way all the way through that top floor and clearing it along the way. But for now, our focus is on Tun, who is in the basement going for some cheeky possible runouts on that garage side, but no attacker will near that area, and the Jaeger will rotate away.
A very, very heavy roam game here for UTSA, and we're there, or rather, yes, for UTSA, and they're going to pay the price for it as Easy Money falls immediately. It's going to be now a man advantage for Texas A&M, and they have to get some players back to site. Ton is already back into bathroom, but BZ all by himself playing as the Pulse. The Nitro Cell won't catch anyone, but they still have one more on the board in Vera. It's going to be up to him if he can get a free kill with it, but a lot of this map has already been positioned and given away to this attack. This is going to be a fatal flaw here, and a man disadvantage, basically playing in a 3v5 since BZ is nowhere on site.
And now Jinro sneaking up in the bathroom, but there is a sneaky prone player around the corner, and the headshot could not be found before Tun cut down the Maverick. So a 4v4 is now what Texas A&M are staring down, as half the time has been whittled away, and under 90 seconds are what remains in this round. Zyra takes some shots with the AUG over onto landing, but no player will be found. But Nexon, in the meantime, finds the head of Fear of God, and Tun with the follow-up takes down Chief. A double kill for Tun, but he will quickly be punished by Black Air Forces from the long angle from landing. Now a 2v3. This is manageable for Black Air Forces as he finds a double kill, and he's down to 5 HP. Finally cut down by Zyra, and it's up to Praise. In a 1v2, got the wub to deal with, as well as ample information to deny. Zyra gets well over aggressive and gets caught out for it and punished, but 25 HP is all that remains no longer, as Praise will swing on the angle and take out the prone Kaid. Now a 1v1, the Pulse presents himself, and oh no, Texas A&M, they took a round that they had no business winning. UTSA through that one in those closing seconds. The information wasn't there for the information king, Pulse, and he was felled at his own design. So there it is, Texas A&M, they find their first attacking round, and on Villa, that is definitely a good place to be.
Don't know if it was necessarily in the fashion that you would have wanted to, because Texas A&M for a very, very long time in that map, or excuse me, that round, they had a very, very ample time to just execute onto site as a 5v3, and they wouldn't have really had to deal with anybody else other than the people onto site. And if you can successfully trade, there you go, you have won the round. So I don't necessarily know if that was a good executed round. However, they were able to win those gunfights, and gas off Praise, who was able to bring it all the way back for his team. However, we're going to head back to the same site. The only question is the over-aggression from UTSA going to pay off, or not pay off once again? Or do they play more passive? Do they have more players on site? Maybe does this active utility get switched to an active roam game that we see BZ on with the Oryx?
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look exactly how that roam play is going to come into effect. Round number 1, there was a mixed amount of success on that roam for UTSA, but round number 2, it was shut down pretty handily, and the defenders forced to rotate back to site were also not able to do too much when that push came down to it. Looked like it was going to go in UT's favor regardless of those roaming mistakes, but Texas A&M, they found a way to win it in the way that we saw a lot happen tonight on all these series that we've been taking a look at so far. Some attacking squads are just grinding it back in those closing seconds. But easy money here will be on that extended roam. The Mozzie, the information denial king, will be holed out in Aviator in Plains and Games, looking to stall out this south to north clear as much as possible. It's going to be easier said than done, as there is quite a bit of pressure mounting from this area, but with those Mozzie pests to protect this doorway, Praise's drone rather, has no chance of sneaking its way in. And easy money over-aggresses on that 90 haul and will get cut down expeditiously by Black Air Forces, and now it is a 5v4. Texas A&M have once again found themselves on top here on an attacking round.
2 minutes left to go, however, and they still have to get clear of any other flankers, potentially, or anybody else just going in for the site. They have to make sure that they don't get caught out here, and BZ is going to be that player to catch them out. However, as the Orcs, he can jump through any hatch he sees fit. If he's not careful, however, they can hear him jump up this hatch, and maybe they know that there is an Orcs in play, or at least that they're worried about it. However, BZ, he is right by the window. If he's not careful, he can get shot out by the window. And just very close are all the attackers to him. But they are electing, with under 90 seconds left to play, to focus more towards sight. Because if they don't, they could very well paid price. Praise is actually going to put his last air jab onto that hatch, and that could very easily deter BZ away from that hatch.
And now, with a minute to play in this round, going to be up to this pressure to continue to build. Yes, they have the man advantage, but the time is ticking away and working against this Texas A&M attack. Ton is holding this position in bedroom, swings and finds the head of Chief. Jinro finds Nexon in the meantime, but it was actually a trade, with Nexon finding the headshot as well. So it's going to keep this even in a 3v3 after that shot from Ton, but Fear of God has snuck up into Trophy and might be tempting to get this site control. A one-tap headshot delivered onto Zyra, the beautiful shot there. The frag not found onto Ton, who's hiding out here in Master, using the Maverick holes against the attackers. But it's 2 defenders. Oh, now there's still 2 attackers now as BZ finds the head of Fear of God. So it's a 2v2 with Black Air Forces with a diffuser in hand. BZ on the flank, but it's Black Air Forces who has the double kill. And it's all up to BZ now. Coming on the flank, but his position is known. The call goes out, as does the diffuser being planted on the deck. Praise with the cover as BZ tries to swing, deny the plant, but it is too late. And now the Ash has vaulted on downstairs. There's 1 player up and 1 player down. BZ rushes on through with the Oryx dash, trying to find the Nomad, but it will not happen just yet, as Praise is just too elusive, sneaking back and forth. It's a ring around the rosy, but BZ is the one with the responsibility to retake this site. BZ needs to get going here, and with the diffuser destructed from below, Black Air Forces, all has to do is wait for Oryx to attempt a defuse. Now this is getting to impossible situation, and Praise will solidify the round. Texas A&M will take round number 3 in a very strong fashion after a second round win. That could have gone either way, but now it is 2-1, and once again, Vial, like you said, we may very well see another attacker-sided map.
Yeah, it just looks like the momentum for this attack is picking up very, very quickly here. It seems like they know exactly where they're going to play, how they're going to play it, and then they just counteract that. So hats off to the defense of or rather the attack of Texas A&M to read into that and actually fight back. Now, the only question I have for them now, how do you adjust that? Rather, UTSA. You're going to head back into the Plains and Games site, which you won last time. And the only question is, are you going to be able to do it again? And do you adjust by playing more aggressive? Do you play the exact same style that you did last time? What is the adjustment?
A great question, and one that needs answering for definitely for UTSA here. They need to make the adjustments now that Texas A&M have shown that they have a very well put together trophy and statuary attack. We're heading back to Plains and Games first though, so this could very well be another UTSA round going in their favor, but regardless, we're going to have to see either trophy and statuary or kitchen and dining again if UTSA are going to take this AVG defense. So at some point, UTSA are going to have to make some pretty substantial changes on this defense. They were not able to, have a ton of defensive success on Oregon either, but at least they were able to squeak out the victory. But Texas A&M are here, and they are looking to not let UTSA crawl back. So Texas A&M, they are looking to continue this aggression, continue this momentum, and not even give UTSA a fighting chance.
Like we were saying before, how this might be another attacker-sided map, at least for now. The only difference is I will have to say, between this map and Oregon, that Oregon seemed to be a lot more decisive when it came to all attacker rounds. This one, however, with Texas A&M on the attack, it does not seem as decisive. UTSA always seems to have a foothold, or at least a fighting chance throughout the round. So maybe Texas A&M isn't as strong as they are hoping, or maybe UTSA has found a way to fight back and claw back against a team's map pick. However, Easy Money wants to be finding a very, very early map pick as well, as he is going to sneak up these stairs at Astro. He's going to get spotted out by the drone, so he's going to elect to fall back immediately. The hatch is open, though. Somebody could find his head if he's not that careful. But he's going to go all the way down to the basement, and maybe it's the best for him.
A bomb has been located.
That is a good, safe style of roam, not getting overly aggressive or overstaying their welcome. Easy Money making the smart decision there. But now that decision is going to have to be complemented by some rotating back to site to support the teammates of UTSA, because if not, this full push could get on in there before Easy Money is of assistance to this team. Sure, you took out some drones, but how are you going to make that presence felt in the remainder of this round? Fear of God trying to make their presence felt, but it's Tun who does that first. But a brilliant swing and a great trade from Fear of God, taking down Tun and keeping it even in a 4v4. But now Fear of God has to swing on main stairs. And there is a player holding behind the deployable shield trying to contest this, and it's Zyra. But Zyra's cut down, as is Easy Money, the Jaeger on the flank, removed. BZ gets cut down, and all of a sudden it is Texas A&M who destroy every remaining defender. And UTSA, they fall one after another. Texas A&M will take this attacking round decisively. Now it is 3-1 in their favor.
Making me eat my words very, very quickly, and I love to see it because they are playing a lot better than they were on their attacking rounds last map. They seem to be playing a little bit more decisive, and they are a lot more organized. Granted, it is their map pick, and maybe when they swap over to the defense, something might shift. However, UTSA look a little flat now. They aren't playing as well as they were in the last map, and maybe this is just because both of these teams are attacker-sided teams. They just prefer to play on the attack and get aggressive rather than play on the defense and have to either pick and choose or get caught out for it. And we're going to go back to the Plains game site. Repetition of sites here could really be a downfall here for UTSA.
And we are going to have to see how they respond. We talked about it last round. We're going to talk about it again. I mean, we talk about this adaptability, the ability of teams to pivot and adjust in the middle of a match, in the middle of a round even. That is what separates the good teams from the better teams, from the top teams in this league. And I would consider both of these teams to be up there in the upper echelon of this league. They are in that top 10, maybe in that top 5 on their best days. And so they are looking to make a statement. They are looking to continue to show their capability here. But UTSA seem to be struggling on Villa so far. 3-1 is not where they wanted to sit, especially choosing to go to defense first. Of course, we could see this go attacker-sided, but I don't think that that is something that UTSA can safely assume when switching to that second half. I think Texas A&M, if they find any more rounds on this half, it could very well spell the end of this map, at least for UTSA. Of course, there is another one, but it is dangerous to let a team like Texas A&M go into that decider map with the momentum. But we're far from there. We're just in round number 5. We've got a lot of siege to be played on Villa before we can be having those conversations. And Nexon is going to get swung very early on from Fear of God, and Fear of God continuing the pattern we've seen from him all night long. Will be finding those early picks and winning those gunfights, as will Black Air Force's Easy Money is the next player to fall. That extension onto that top floor to the north simply was not good enough for these UTSA players to stay alive, and already UTSA are on the back foot again in round number 5.
And on a very, very big back foot they're on because they have to find a pick somehow, but Black Air Force is just barely missing the head on BZ, who isn't on site. This could prove to be a very huge blunder because now it's technically only a 2v4, or rather a 2v3 close to on site, but they're playing with time, them being Texas A&M. They want to play off as much time as possible and hopefully know exactly where everyone's going. However, Jinro, you might be able to find a very quick pick here because Kun did not exactly know, but the nade, it's going to fall right at the feet of Hinro. BZ gets one back, shotgun, buckshot will ring out. Zyra, of course, knows that one is going to be on that landing. BZ is scared just in case he might get flanked or even watched from another angle. Tun, only one technically on site, but this is technically called an extended roam if you were to call it that. You can hold on to plenty of different angles and hold on to site still as effective. Now, the only question is how and where does this team elect to play onto Tun? I believe he swung on, but no, BZ actually gets it, and Zyra gets one back as well. The trades are falling back and forth, 30 seconds left to play. The flashbang will ring out, but the Warden uses Gadget to a perfect ability. BZ gets one back. The pistol will ring out for Black Air Forces, but the diffuser down. Both players left on low HP, and it looks like Black Air Forces wants to engage in this fight. Instead, elects to go to the exact opposite site. all the way to the A site. 7 seconds
5 seconds
needed
left.
to put this diffuser down. He's starting to get it down. And BZ, if he's not careful, he might be put in a bad scenario. But the C4 rings out, catches a black. Air Forces, forget Air Force 1. Air Force down. BZ, C4 rings out. Round number 2 for this defense.
Brilliant job there from UTSA to find that round win. And oh my, it was a nail-biter. It looked like Texas A&M were storming ahead once again, but UTSA, they found the trades, they found a couple of cheeky kills, and they had the response that they needed to claw that advantage back and take that round in a very tough 1v1 situation. Black Air Forces not playing the clock quite enough, waiting to plant until it was just about too late. Had to stick it, and a C4 could do pretty much 2 HP damage from almost any range on the map that you ask for, and the Ash was cut down. But it's still very possible for Texas A&M to get that 4-2 split. It is 3-2 right now in the final round
Attackers
of
need
this
to
first
locate and
half
defuse as
of
many
Villa,
bombs as they
and
can.
it will be the tertiary bomb site coming into play from UTSA here. They're not going to go back to Trophy and Statuary, the site that has been
Attackers
giving
have
them
located
quite
the
a bit
bomb.
of trouble so far. It is going to be Kitchen and Dining, the next site we are going to see. Now, we talked about this on Oregon and on that tertiary bomb site as well. The vertical play is the name of the game for this round, for both the attacking and defending squads. That is why we see BZ, the heartbeat scanner on the pulse, as well as 3
seconds to go.
C4s in pocket from this defense. They are going to be looking to
5
rain
seconds
those
left.
C4s from below onto the attackers, who are no doubt hoping to open up some
Attackers
vertical
are moving
angles
to
from
defuse the
above.
bomb.
But to do that, they are going to have to deal with this top floor extension that Easy Money, Nexon, and Ton are putting together. You've got some utility, some reinforcements, some Mozzie pests devoted to that top floor, and ample opportunities to rotate away. So it's going to be the focus of this early round is how fast this top pressure can be dealt with.
The top floor pressure is something that I always emphasize when holding onto the site. If you don't have someone holding on to the top floor while holding onto the site, it makes it extremely difficult for anybody really to put any pressure on each other, or rather the defense onto an attack. Because if you just elect to give it up to them, then you have to figure out how exactly are you going to apply pressure when they take the site and open up those angles. Granted, C4s are always a great counter, and 3 on the board always are a good place, especially with active utility on the pulse. However, no more active utility will be Ton. That gun will be chopped down, and hopefully all the ADSs were placed. The only question is, where else could his gun have been used? And now the overextension and the over rotation could come out from UTSA. C4 will get put on top and does a little bit of damage, almost close to 50 HP to Fear of God, but does not knock him on his bottom.
And with 90 seconds burned, it is vertical control firmly in the hands of Texas A&M. Now, using that control, they're going to open those angles onto the site below and force the anchors to scramble all over the place. That is going to force this attacking squad to actually get a lot more traction on the site. 1C4 rains from Ton, or Nexon rather, and it will not connect. Fear of God continuing to open these vertical angles, but no picks found other than that top floor extension. But here comes a sneaky Jinro working their way in here to Laundry and opening that up with the Surrey Torch, hoping to find an angle onto Nexon in Memo right now. But Nexon is aware of the position of the Maverick and is going to challenge using the same hole. But look what we've got here. We've got a flank from the Pulse. With the UMP, maybe a terrible gun, but this is a great position for the Pulse to be in. But now, breaking the barricade, their position is fully known, and now has to be quite careful as Nexon getting over aggressive, not going to be careful enough, and Jinro will capitalize on that one. So BZ is still in a position to get a pretty good flank here, but Easy Money and Zyra are all alone on this site. And Jinro cutting down BZ basically seals this round off as Chief is getting the diffuser down. Black Air Forces finds the next one, and it is all up to Zyra. But Black Air Forces, oh my goodness, Texas A&M with a flawless round number 6, a 4-2 split. Seems that Villa is certainly their home.
attacker-sided matches we are having, and I am in favor of this because this just leads up to phenomenal gunplay from both of these teams. However, a 2-4 split is not something to get too comfortable on. Yes, the 5-1 split that we saw in the last map was granted very comfortable, but was very quickly taken away by Texas A&M. The only question is, how well can UTSA take away this lead? It's only 2 rounds rather than 4. How well can they fight back to get in this match? It's going to be very difficult for them because they have looked a little bit stale, at least on their defense. However, on an attack, as we've seen both of these teams do, they seem to heat up.
Well, we're going to have to see if UTSA
Attackers
can
locate
heat
and
up
defuse
here
bombs.
in this part of the half, in the second half rather, in round number 7. They are going to need to start off their attacking half in force. And if they don't, this map is more than over for them. Texas A&M could take that victory and go ahead to that decider map. But if UTSA have anything to say about it, and I'm sure that they will, they are going to be looking to bring this attacking pressure strong early on. But there's one operator, namely the Mira, who is going to be a brutal wall in the way of that attack. Those black mirrors
5
can be
seconds left before
extremely deadly, especially on lanes and games, to shut down any push, no matter where it comes from. So UTSA are going to have to swiftly deal with this angle or find some way to get the pressure up into 90 Hall and take those out from behind. Otherwise, those black mirrors could very well be the end of this UTSA attack.
Very rare that we see a Mira on the board, no matter what map and no matter what team, because Mira, not only since it is commonly banned out from most teams and most maps, most teams don't even use her in a lineup because most of the time she will be banned out, so it doesn't work on practicing with her. I don't believe we saw UTSA bring her once in this matchup, so the fact that Texas A&M are electing to bring her proves that they have done a little bit more work on the map of their choice. Now the question is, how do they get rid of this, them being UTSA? They have to figure out how to force them out of these power positions. How exactly are they going to force their way on into the site? And it looks like they're doing exactly that. They want to go for a north side take, all the way from Trophy and Statuary, where they can force their way through slowly, methodically, get all the angles that they want to lock down, and then eventually force their way through maybe Vault and maybe all the way through 90 Hall, which most likely would be the best place for them to take.
Well, right now, with just about 90 seconds burned, we've got all 10 operators remaining on the board here, and Tun is the first player to reach the checkpoint of 90, and is now going to be joined by BZ on that rappel on the 90 window. Tun looking for the shots, playing the player behind that deployable shield. That is Jinro holding this pesky position. It's Easy Money who opens it up, taking down the bandit. Fear of God is no longer a factor in this round. The Nomad will be rotating around to try to deal with Jinro from behind, but Jinro will smartly be rotating away as the utility dump pours on into this site. Easy Money's going to rain some bullets on through as well, leading towards the player playing in study, and BZ's looking to capitalize, but the shot's not fully landed onto Black Air Forces. It is Chief who lands the shots, lands the C4 onto Tun, keeping it even in a 4v4. Nexon hits the floor, and Jinro will solidify the kill. Now with Vault opened wide, Zyra aware that there is a Mira playing a position very close on this wall and is playing this angle a bit more passively as a result. Easy Money joining their teammate to support this push, and with 37 seconds to go, it's got to get underway. Zyra gonna make that happen, finding one onto Chief, but it's a 3v3, and these attackers are low health and low utility, and Praise is gonna make that even worse, finding one. Black Air Forces misses every single bullet, but the final one will land, and Praise, with the headshot, will seal the round, and another very successful performance from Texas A&M. That is round number 7 in their pocket. That is a 5-2 scoreline now in their hands.
It's getting very, very dangerous here for UTSA because if they don't pick up another round, the momentum now shifts heavily in favor of Texas A&M. And then they're one round win away from getting onto match point, and that could be extremely dangerous here for UTSA because, granted, yes, you can make a comeback. Yes, you can force OT. You don't want that to happen right now because the momentum, even if you go to OT, unless you do something drastic here, is still going to be in favor of Texas A&M. They are playing very, very well, and they are electing to go to the kitchen dining room site next. They're going to bring some active utility out here with the Pulse and using it as their secondary bomb site.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
Seeing
many
kitchen
bombs as they
and
can.
dining as a secondary bomb site is not the most surprising thing, especially given that, well, we all saw how UTSA struggled to hold trophy and statuary, their seemingly preferred secondary bomb site, on their defensive path. But the vertical play, we've talked about this before, so we're not going to hammer it home too much here, is so essential, and that's why we've got the Pulse, we've got the 4 C4s, the call center from hell, coming out from Texas A&M. And it's going to be how fast UTSA can deal with this. We saw how efficient Texas A&M did it on their half, but we're going to have to see exactly what UTSA can do, because if they don't deal with this swiftly, that is another round in the hands of Texas A&M, and that is simply enough for them to take the map, okay? So now we've got it all coming down to, I believe, this right here. I believe this round could be the turning point, right? If UTSA win this round, I'm not going to count them out of this yet. I think they could very well claw this back and really take this fight to Texas A&M. But if this round goes in the favor of Texas A&M, it is all but over on Villa for UTSA, and we're going to have to wait on Cafe to see exactly what they can do.
Speaking of those nitro cells that you spoke on before, it is going to be 4 nitro cells. One more that we saw than UTSA bring out when they went to kitchen and dining. And it's plenty of utility that you can use both actively and passively. When I say passively, you could just leave one of the C4s at a certain position, wait for your Pulse to call it out, and then all you have to do is press one button and you get a free kill. The only question is, are they electing to do that? I doubt it, because most teams don't. They elect to use it in a more active way. See it, hear it, call it, blow it. That's essentially how it's worked. And speaking of how it works, Black Air Forces, he wants to get extremely aggressive here, but no, he falls all the way back down those Astro Stairs once again. He doesn't want to play anybody just yet. And there we go. There is the passive way of using that utility for the C4. They're already placed. Jinro is waiting to call it. Chief just has to wait on the G key call. And there we go. It won't get blown just yet. But Tunnel's just waiting. Waiting on what? The only question is he's going to start opening up everything as much as he can. There we go. This vertical presence is starting to come its way to UTSA.
And now that vertical pressure hasn't found any kills just yet. I mean, we've got only a minute left on this round, and all 10 operators, as I say that, it will not be the case anymore. As BZ is the first player to fall, that is UTSA losing their man first, and Black Air Forces is now enabled with a possibility of a flank here, working up the Astro Stairs. But changing their mind, it's the Jaeger rotating back on to the site. The EMP grenades are going to prevent Jinro from actually knowing exactly where these attackers are coming from above, and just going to miss the shots. It's actually going to be easy money who prevails in that engagement. And as the exothermic charge goes to open up more angles on this wall, that's going to be from Laundry, it's going to get even more possible for this execute to come down. If Nexon and Easy Money can find the kills as they do, it will become even easier. Now it is Praise and Fear of God left to do the work, but Fear of God will start it off with the P10 on the flank. Now dropping down into Laundry, aware that the wall is open. Oh, what a shot! The flick and the headshot delivered, but Nexon answers back with a double kill of his own. And it is up to Praise in a 1v2 to bring this one back. And now that the diffuser has all but planted on the deck and the kill delivered, UTSA will stay in this fight. It is 3-5. It is not over yet, folks. UTSA could very well claw this one back, but boy, oh boy, do they have their work cut out for them here.
Only 2 more rounds to tie it and send us all the way to round number 12. Either way, still pedaling on the back foot here. They have only been able to pick up this one round in the past, I believe, 3 or 4. So it's going to be up to them to really set the tone. They have to set the momentum that most teams fail to do sometimes. Sometimes they'll fall short because of that mental game. Sometimes we don't talk about this, but that's one thing that happens not only in Siege, but just around esports in general, is that the mental game can prove to be your deadliest, because when you're down by a significant margin, even with a map advantage, it can prove to be very deadly when you go on to the next map, because the momentum is against you. And you know that but you don't want to accept it. So it can prove to be a huge determining factor of win or lose for your team. But enough of the mental game. We are heading to trophy and statuary here, and Fear of God, he is going to be setting up as well for the Planes and Games for an extended roam, a typical setup here for a trophy statuary site.
Yeah, the site that Texas A&M have
10
chosen
seconds
to
left.
avoid thus far is finally coming into fruition here.
5
So we
seconds
are
left.
going to see it played here in round number 9, and we're going to have to see exactly how they choose to hold this. We clearly have the Electro Claw deployed and locking off that entire master side wall, as well as a substantial extension over to the study side, that south side. You've got 3 players here. You've got Praise, Fear of God, and Black Air Forces. The Jaeger, the Mozzie, and the Castle, respectively, using a lot of utility and a lot of manpower to hold down this side. Now, this is a very good decision if you know where UTSA are going to push from, and it does appear that UTSA are attempting to do exactly that. Now, if they are aware that 3 players are on this extension, they could very well choose to change up their push and go for a direct site take, because that would definitely catch these defenders off guard. However, it appears that a full roam clear is in order, and Ton, Easy Money, and Beezy will be trying to establish this crossfire that is quite challenging to establish onto this site. And with that pressure from Praise over onto that 90 window, Beezy is finding it hard to get any intel to go off of. Ton is going to have to face check the angle, and Fear of God is going to punish Ton for that. The headshot delivered by the P10 Roni is Easy Money, is desperately trying to get more intel, but it is hard with 3 defenders hanging out and denying that information as much as possible. It is not easy to get this roam clear going, and with 90 seconds burned, no pressure from UTSA has been made on that clear. Instead, the direct site take is underway, but the impact trick, it will take out that first exothermic charge and will make it even harder for the site pressure to build.
They don't have any more impact nades, though. However, I don't know if all the... Yes, actually, all of the exothermic charges are off the board, so it makes it even more difficult for this UTSA attack to get in. They also have the man disadvantage, so it just looks like this round might be a little lost. Granted, 60 seconds left about on the clock, so they have to force some engagements. They have to start funneling through the places where they don't want to funnel through. Maybe pull off a sneaky, beaky-like play to get in onto site and win those gunfights. And speaking of win those gunfights, Zyra wins the first one onto Praise. That's her Jaeger off the board. And speaking of off the board, it's going to be Nexon. He falls to Chief. Fear of God finds one back as well. Easy Money now left in a 1v3 clutch scenario. 39 seconds left on the clock. He has to make something happen. They know exactly where he is. Lands a few shots onto both of these players, and absolute godlike senses coming in. And he knows one might be coming on his back. He knows it. Downs Chief as well. Now it's a 1v2. 20 seconds left on the clock. A little bit more doable here for both of these players. They have intel about where he is. The only question is, does he have enough bullets left in the magazine? Does he have enough mouse pad for the flicks? He's going for the diffuser.
10 seconds
Left with 10 seconds to play. Look like he's going to be able to get it down anytime soon. They know where both players are. The Black Air Force is ringing it out and secure match point here for Texas A&M.
Now they've got what they need. It's 6-3, a 3-round advantage and match point on the horizon. They just need one more and Villa will be theirs. Cafe, our decider map. The distance will be in the future for all of us watching this incredible matchup. I don't know what UTSA can do to bring this one back, especially on this attack. Texas A&M are simply not making a lot of mistakes. In that last round, they did a brilliant job rotating back to site and locking off that master wall, even when 3 defenders were positioned off site. I mean, if you're an attacking team there, it's got to feel almost impossible to get anything going onto that site simply because they didn't have all the information that they needed. Because the drones kept getting destroyed or snagged by Mozzie pests over on that south side clear, UTSA never had a clue that there were only 2 defenders on the site. Had they known that, a rotation would have definitely been in order. A direct site take would have had occurred, and it could have been quite successful if they had known that. But a combination of a brilliant use of utility on both the anchors and the extended roamers And that information denial enabled Texas A&M to take another clean round win, which has now given them the opportunity to take this map right here.
And they're going to head to Plains in the games to try and secure match point and map point. So they can head on to map number 3. And clearly showing that both of these teams know exactly how they want to play both of their map picks. However, looks like UTSA is falling a little bit more flat when it doesn't come to their map pick. So that gives me a little bit of concern if we do happen to head over to Cafe, because UTSA not out of this match just yet. They still have this round to play, and if they do manage to pick that one off, the next one, then they have to go 3 flawless. It's very difficult for teams sometimes to even go 2 flawless, especially when you know that your map point is on the line. So it's going to be down to this attack. They're going to force their way through everything, and actually Nexon already has a stakehold here in 90 Hall. This could prove to be very advantageous.
Yeah, Nexon is looking for that player behind the deployable shield, but also knows that swinging this angle could mean their death. Very careful to challenge on Fear of God, who's just patiently waiting behind this deployable shield and has ample information at their fingertips. But the drone from Nexon will identify the positioning of the bandit, and now Nexon will be looking to tempt that swing. But for now, it's simply going to be dropping down that EMP charge, hoping to get that off the wall to enable the vault wall to be open. Tun is going to launch the breaching charge down range, but I do not believe it was able to destroy that deployable shield, the utility brilliantly used by the Jaeger to shut that down. But Black Air Forces looking for the C4 from below. This could be pretty big if the attackers just line up and if this is placed in the right spot. There are no attackers to contest this bottom floor pressure, but Black Air Forces doesn't know exactly where these attackers are. The Nitro Cell is yet to rain out, but it's Tun who's going to rain the bullets on into the site, looking for anybody, but with a minute left in this round, every single defender is on the board still. Jinro the first to fall as Tun finds the headshot with the G36C, but then Black Air Forces will find the response onto BZ right away. The C4 will not connect. It's Easy Money who connects the headshot with Black Air Forces, and it's all going down right now. Tun finds the response, but as does Praise, searching for that refrag and will find it. Now it is Praise and Fear of God left to find 3. Nexon takes quite a bit of damage. Zyra attempts to plant, but changes his mind. Now back on the plant, Praise and the Bandit of Fear of God are going to rotate around and try to get this flank. At the same time, the swing is effective for Fear of God. That's Nexon hits the floor, but Easy Money finds the double kill and the easy shots on to the remaining Jaeger. It is now Fear of God in a 1v2 looking to get this pressure going, but there is a pesky 2 players sitting out here on Red Landing looking for the shots, and Zyra will find it with the 5-5-6. UTSA will live to fight another round. It will stay in this fight. 6-4 now the score line. It is not over for them yet.
Not over at all. If they pull off this next one, we head to all 12 rounds, which we would see 2 maps in a row go to all 12 rounds. That would be insane for both of these teams, and just goes to show the level of competitiveness for both of these teams, and clearly shows that they're fighting for something of value to them here. And of course, that's their playoff hopes. That is their run through. UTSA want to close it out here. They don't want to go to that third map because maybe they don't feel comfortable on Cafe. Maybe they just don't want to allow Texas A&M a stake back into the playoffs. They want to close it out here, but they have to start small, and they have to start with this next round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Well, those small things that UTSA did right in that last round, like you said, Vial, that was the key for them. That really enabled them to take that round, and it came close in the end. Those remaining Texas A&M defenders looked really like they could do it. The double swing on from 90 and from the main stairs into study bore a little bit of fruit, at least for Fear of God. But the Jaeger Praise was not able to find traction, and Fear of God was eventually left in that 1v2 scenario. But of course, it is Plains and Games once again. That will be the site played by Texas A&M here after that unsuccessful defense. And I don't know if they're going to change much up here other than their play style. I mean, it was pretty successful the first time around. A near flawless round they delivered, if I recall correctly, and now with that Mira set up in the exact same place, they are going to be looking to emulate some of that success and further their traction in this one and not let UTSA crawl back any further.
Texas A&M going to bust out the mirror strat for this site once again. But however, UTSA are once again looking to bypass it. They want to just clear out Master, go through Bathroom, and just go all the way through this part of the site. Again, try and establish a hold onto 90 and landing, as they did last time. They are clearing this out more effectively and a lot quicker now, as only about 50 seconds have passed on the clock. So they're clearing this out a lot more effectively than last time, which is going to prove to be a very, very vital portion, especially for the time. Easy Money on the red stairs is going to most likely try and force his team all the way through. Same thing with Nexon and BZ. BZ is going to get caught on the foothold here, as well as the C4 will down him. I believe that was the first C4 coming out. Yes, that's Fear of God. They still have 2 more on the board, as well as impacts from drone. But BZ gets picked up on low HP, but gets swung on by Fear of God. However, the air jab will put him down, but Fear of God has the backup. It doesn't matter because the Black Air Forces will ring out, stomping on his competition. Will get a 15th frag on the match. 90 seconds left to go here.
UTSA find themselves on the back foot once again, and with match point on the line, it is up to Zyra, Easy Money, and Ton to claw this back. Jinro looks for the feet of 1, but the Alda will not connect any shots there. The red dot scope, an interesting decision to say the least on the Alda, but one that Jinro has been doing just fine with on this half. 7-7 so far for the Maestro, looking to further that as this closing of round number 11 comes down through. Now under a minute to go. Ton still up here in 90, trying to contest the player on Vault, at least remove the Bandit battery from the wall. The Bandit battery finally removed. That will now enable Zyra to use one of those 2 exothermic charges to remove that from play. But Jinro has 2 impacts and is going to be more than eager to use those to impact trick the wall. The first one successful, the first exothermic charge burned, but it's the head of Chief, the next to burn, as Easy Money finds that shot on that Sophia. Now a 3v3. This is very possible for them to bring this one back. You gotta be careful. The Goyo is peeking around in study. It appears that the Sophia is fully aware of this, but Black Air Forces is tempting to get this swing. Jinro on the pre-fire swing with the Alda. It's Ton who finds the shots on the Black Air Forces. Now Ton swings in. Ooh, a beautiful wall bang for the triple kill, but Jinro has an answer. Now it's a 1v2. The tides have turned. It is up to this player on Texas A&M to do it, but they will not. It is Zyra, UTSA, who take round 11, and once again, they refuse to go down easy. Despite being down the man count, they will take the round, and they will remain in this fight for just one more.
Let's go racing. It's just a race against the clock and a race of attackers at this point. The attack for both of these teams have just been able to play out perfectly, at least in terms of this team and synchronization. I am thoroughly impressed with both of these teams and how they're playing. It is just phenomenal that they're I'm just loving it how they are attacking, and this is down to the wire for both of these teams heading into round number 12. Texas A&M, they get this. We are heading all the way to map number 3. However, the Roadrunners are able to claw this one back. We head into OT, overtime, and that is where anything can happen.
Anything can happen indeed. It is match point still, but of course, UTSA, they've got that momentum that they need. But Vial, this feels a lot similar to Oregon if you think back to just 1 hour ago. This was the same situation. It was match point for UTSA for 3 rounds in a row. Then Texas A&M, they clawed it back to 5-6, but then finally UTSA took it to that 7-5 victory on Oregon. Do you think we're going to see the same thing, or does UTSA have it in them to send this one to overtime, Bill?
I think the only way that they can take this to overtime is if they actually elect to bypass all these roamers. They have to force their way and execute onto site. Because some of these roamers, yes, they're going to be extremely dangerous to deal with later on in the round, but in terms of actually executing on the site, they're not that big of a deal. So all they have to do is maybe apply a little bit of pressure, maybe send one person to try and contest them a little bit, but not risk their life. The rest of your players have to execute onto site, because if we look, it is only what looks to be Chief and one more person, I don't know exactly who it is, directly onto site. Granted, Black Air Force on that castle is going to be by landing a nice call, which is proving to be a apex point for this defense, because if he can hold on to this very small corridor, it basically shuts down this entire attack.
Well, the attack yet to be shut down. BZ taking a bit of damage, but nothing more to speak of than that. 25 HP, all that is left to BZ's name here, pushing in from that trophy window, the boar window, whatever you want to call it there. Easy money. Hoping to get this vertical clear, maybe some vertical pressure onto the site from below. Nobody contesting the Zofia just yet. Zyra using that Habana buff, sending 2 pellets at a time to open some sight lines onto this master wall and prevent a probable Kaid trick from going down. But the Electroclaw trick did land on some of those other pellets, and now Jinro forced out of that position. A lot of shots spraying on towards the Maestro, but it's the shots towards BZ who land true. Chief finds the head, and that will be the opening pick for Texas A&M. Look at that, it is back to the advantage for Texas A&M, and UTSA are the ones on the back foot. But Fear of God may be tempting a potential little flank, as there are 2 players precariously positioned on the other side of this wall.
Down to the last minute here, 50 seconds left to go. The do or die moment for UTSA and Texas A&M. And Texas A&M Praise is going to get one back here for his team. It's down to the wire. Match point, 40 seconds actually left to go. And UTSA have to go all the way through. They have to force these gunfights that are going to be extremely dangerous. Jinro, though, he's going to find the first one. Chief finds a second. Zyra won't be able to find it, and Texas A&M finishes out the exact same way that we finished out Oregon. And there we have it. Map number 3. We're going to Cafe Dostoevsky, grabs a cup of coffee, and join us for that matchup. Jay-Z, I am ecstatic for it.
We all thought it would go the distance, and well, we were absolutely correct. These teams are not gonna go down easy. This is just what it was like before when these 2 teams went head to head in week 1, and it is no different here tonight in the match that is now either team is on the chopping block. The winner of this next one, of course, moving on to round 16 of the Premier Invite League playoffs, and the loser will be done for the winter 2020 season. So there's a lot at stake, and we're going to have to see exactly how it plays out on our Cafe Decider. So Common Decider, we talk about it all the time, but we're going to talk about it more in just a few minutes. Stick around, and we will be right back.
I thought you were the one for me. That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here for CR6, and what a banger of a matchup do we have. I am your co-caster, Vial, alongside my co-caster, JZ, and oh my lord, do we have the Battle of the Wild West, the Texas Showdown here. And JZ, walk us through, what do you expect here on our deciding map of Cafe Dostoyevsky?
It is so hard to make a prediction here. I mean, we saw two maps go almost identically. It was one team. They go out, they dominate early, they go out to a commanding lead, then the other team crawls it back, works their way back in. That's what we saw on Oregon, 7-5, the final scoreline in the favor of UTSA. You go over to Villa, UTSA tried to get back in the fight, but Texas A&M said not a chance. 7-5, the score line on Villa as well. So UTSA, they got to pick the sides because they are the higher seed and the equal round differential. I believe they chose attack here on Cafe. An interesting choice and one that we're going to have to see play out on this map that really I have no idea what is going to happen here. I mean, this could be going down to the wire. This very well could be a round 15 for us tonight. I would not expect anything less from these two absolutely stacked teams because they've put on an incredible performance so far tonight, and they are not wasting any time to get into this one.
Absolutely not. We don't want to waste any more time because this matchup is going on and we want to see how much more production this team can put on. It has been very attacker-sided, we must admit, for both of these maps, and we want to find out, will this continue? However, the only thing that won't continue will be Thatcher. He was able to sneak past the ban phases, both maps. However, this one, he's going to get caught out. So now, it's going to be a question of what are these last three bans? Will it be more meta bans? Will we see something like Villa where it was more or less off meta? Zero won't find any play throughout any of these matches, which makes total sense.
You got that Zero gone. I've talked about it before, but the intel that he provides will not be a factor on Cafe. I do expect we're going to see some intel-oriented bans on the defensive half as well. Valkyrie is extremely powerful on Cafe in particular, as is Mira. And Mira will be that third ban. Those black mirrors are quite powerful on every single site on this map, particularly on bar and cocktail, and anytime you opt for a vertical extension on any particular site, because those black mirrors not only provide an extreme amount of information, but you can quick peek behind them and kill anyone and everyone in your path. And it is no surprise to see the Valkyrie, the final ban of this final map. The pseudo echo, the black eyes that Valkyrie provides, you can put them anywhere on Cafe, and particularly in the pillars area, up facing bar and cocktail. You have a wealth of information at your fingertips and a piece of information that nobody wants to deal with here on Cafe.
We're going to start this map off, the final map of this incredible series, down in the kitchen site. This is one of the more common sites that we see teams go to, typically, especially at a higher level of play. It can tend to be a primary bomb site for multiple teams, and this makes a lot of sense. This bomb site can be used in multiple fashions. Can be used vertical, can be used horizontal, can be used in a combo of those two, depending on how you want to run your defense. And
Attackers
it all
need to
comes down
locate and
to
defuse as many
the
bombs
attack
as they
if
can.
they clear out a roam. And that is exactly what it looks like this defense for Texas A&M. They're going to have to start off.
Attackers have
They're
located
playing
the
with the
bomb.
Vigil, they're playing with the Moss, and they're playing with the Mute. I would be surprised if we didn't see a heavy roam game coming out from this team.
You're absolutely right. You've got the wombo combo of information denial. You've got it
Attackers have discovered the
threefold. You've got it in
location of a bomb.
praise, fear of God, and black air forces. This is a ruthless roam disaster for any attacking team. You've got the mute jammers, the Mozzie pest, and that vigil ability to just disappear from
5
any
seconds left
drone.
before
And
insertion.
even though this is a first floor defense, we are going to see
Attackers are
a
heading
lot
out to
of
defuse the
utility
bomb.
and a pseudo SSG style roam, the likes of what you would see on Consulate or Clubhouse, brought here on Cafe. I'm loving what we're seeing here from Texas A&M early on. We're seeing some reinforcements there on the reading room to pillars wall, preventing any attackers from cutting off that rotation. This is brilliant strat making right now, but the question is, how much will it really come into effect? Because if UTSA elect to go for a direct site push here and go for more direct bakery take and maybe forego the vertical play a little bit, it could very well bite Texas A&M in the back. But only time will tell, as now 40 seconds burned, very little progress made by this attacking team, except for Nexon, who has snuck his way up into the bakery and is now looking for an opening to push on into prep.
First pick rings out, though. Ton is going to be able to find Chief for the first frag of this third map here. Nade will ring out as well from Nexon, trying to catch somebody off guard, but Minro now. He is in a very advantageous position. He knows that someone is going to try and force him out of here. But easy money, he's going to be holding this angle as well. Praise, though, finds Nexon. That's your sledge off the board, but his head gets immediately taken off right back. Now in a 3v4 scenario for the defense here, with just a little over 90 seconds left to play, they still are in a very good spot.
They are indeed. You know, despite being down that man count as well, Texas A&M are comfortable in this site. They've got the time on their side, and they have time to simply just waste off this clock. If the vertical pressure cannot be developed from UTSA, as Fear of God will continue to stifle that, finding one pick there onto Beezy, then there's no way that the anchors will be forced out of their positions, and simply they will have to push in, pre-fire some angles, and get the frags. But it's Black Air Forces who finds the frag. Zyra is the next player to fall. It is Tun and Easy Money, the last attackers remaining, and they are the ones to do the rest of this work. Tun with the pre-fire, but narrowly misses the headshot just an inch away from the head, and Fear of God will close it off. Texas A&M will recover from being down a man and will recover by winning their first defensive round.
Very decisively, I will say, too, because they had, while, yes, they were at a man disadvantage for a decent amount of time throughout that round, they were very comfortable, like you said, on the site. They were very comfortable in how they were playing that defense, and they didn't really have to worry about where they were coming from and where exactly the attackers were going to win those gunfights. Instead, they held those angles, they held mouse 2 and waited for them to appear, click mouse 1, pop the heads, and there you go. Round 1 in favor of them. But we're heading to round number 2. We're heading all the way up to the top floor, and we're going to see a 6th pick to a Clash. Jay-Z, what do you take of this Clash pick here onto Chief?
Well, the Clash pick is an interesting one that we've seen, surprisingly, a little bit here and there all day long. We saw it in our first series, and we've seen it in this series here and there. In the last map, Clash was, of course, banned, and this time, Chief will be bringing it out. And on this top floor site, I have seen Clash played here before, and there have been seriously mixed results. The danger of the Clash is all your teammates can die around you in the blink of an eye. And if you're left in a tough situation without the ability to actually support your teammates with a legit gun, it can be very tough to recover a situation where the man disadvantage has fallen into your hands. But if that man count is maintained, if Chief is able to maintain a strong position supported by 1 or 2 players, then it could work out. But we're going to have to see exactly how it goes. The Clash plays, just like any shield operator, can be very hit or miss. Either it works out tremendously well, or it fails beyond measure. But it appears that Chief will be elected to hold piano, trying to make the pixel position a bit more viable, especially since the changes to Wamai and the lack of his deployable shield.
UTSA have to start getting this checklist done, of course, and that is exactly what they're going to do at this top floor, or rather on the roof. To open up all the angles possible, they want to make sure that they set up some flank drones. However, they did bring a Nomad, which is going to prove to be very advantageous when watching flank options the defenders get. It's one thing that all 3 of these maps, actually, that we've seen tonight, proven to be. They are big flank maps. They are big roam maps. If you can set up your team for a roam, you should be able to set each other up, and you should want to find those picks like that. However, Zyra already at top of the red stairs and wants to force his way even deeper in. BZ scouting out the new balcony, and Fear of God is all the way at the bottom floor. He might go for a very late flank because at the top of white stairs there isn't necessarily anything to contest as of yet. However, Chief, this Clash, is going to be holding onto this angle, giving out as much information to his team as possible.
Well, the information, a wealth of information at the fingertips of Clash, and BZ, hoping to change things up a bit, is rotating down towards 90, towards Red Hall here to try to change things up if possible. Fear of God, having rotated away, is going to support Chief, but the smokes coming in are going to seal off the vision completely and make it impossible for Chief, Fear of God, or Praise to have a sightline onto this Cigar push. And now, the opportunity to push into Bar and possibly go for a plant, it has presented itself, but now with the smokes dissipating, Ton is forced to worry about the back piano angles and those freezer angles once again. Now 40 seconds are all that remains, and this push has yet to be found from this attack. Fear of God wary of a player pushing behind, but Jinro, with all the knowledge in the world, knows that Ton is pushing up into Freezer. Ton hoping to find the Clash, but finding the Grave instead, as Fear of God and Black Air Forces find a double. Nexon has the answer, but so does Prize. It's going to be all up to easy money, and staring in the face of the Clash, this is an impossible situation. The 1v4, 10 seconds left on the clock, and Texas A&M will succeed once more in round number 2, looking strong here in the decider map.
Praise the bit of disrespect there going in. Granted, he ran out of bullets, but he said, I'm going to run in and go for the knife. Texas A&M now up 2-0 as we head over to Reading and Fireplace. This is debatably one of the better sites on this map, and let me tell you why. For those of you who are new to the pro scene and haven't seen anything necessarily in terms of competitive siege, you can play this site exactly as you would the top floor site. What's the only difference? You can fall back and you don't have to worry about having to retake it just yet. Because if you fall back through a hatch, through the white stairs, you fall back immediately onto site where your team should be able to have a hold on. However, that's the key issue. If your team can hold on to that bottom floor site, rather that Reading Fireplace site, you should be able to fall back without any hesitation. And if you can delay as much time as possible at that top floor, you should be in good shape as defenders. It's going to be up to Texas A&M to prove to us that they can do that.
Well, Vial, you bring up a great point, and I like what you mentioned about this site. And that is why a thing increasing in the meta at the level of T2 and T1 is avoiding this top floor site completely and opting instead for Kitchen, your primary, and you'd go Reading, Fireplace, and then Fireplace and Mining as your other two sites. Simply because, just like you said, Vial, that top floor hold is a very viable hold, then you can fall back off those angles, like you mentioned. So both of these strategies extremely viable, and with this increasing in the meta, seeing this team now rotate towards this third site, it is absolutely possible that they will take 3 in a row here. Tertiary bomb sites also very commonly have actually higher defensive win rates than any other site on most maps, and the reason is also because attacking teams are less likely to practice a particular strategy at the same time. These bomb sites are played so less often because when attacking teams find success, those bomb sites are never played, and when they are, defensive success is often found. But whether that is one of those correlation causation situations or not, you do have to agree that this site is absolutely viable and one that we are going to have to see exactly how Texas A&M is choosing to set up here. And for now, you mentioned it perfectly and predicted it, Vial, this top floor hold is everything. We're seeing quite a bit of extension into Cocktail, and this is what UTSA are going to have to deal with early on.
Very rare that we see a team play this top floor, or play this Reading floor site and not play at the top floor. But the issue is that when you try to fall back, you could fall into the crosshairs, and that's exactly what happened for Easy Money. He finds himself 2 free frags, and yes, he gets down by a C4. Don't know exactly whose that was, but he gets picked up immediately, except the breaching charge from Easy Money is gonna kill himself. What a well, I don't know what else to say there, but that was just extremely unlucky. However, it's going to be the Fuse. Fuse is now starting to get a little bit more play, especially when you know that they're going to be playing bottom side. You can start forcing yourself and these opponents into bad positions. However, a bad position Chief is not. Praise, however, is in one as he gets cut down by Zyra. Now, Chief, nowhere near the site, has to force his way on for a very deep and very dangerous retake. Finds the first one though, Ton, off the board. He knows that there's another one. He finds Nexus. He is on for the quad clutch, but he has to find the diffuser as well. He knows one person just went outside. He must have heard that run out. The question is, where's the last person? He's not able to land the shot onto Zyra, and he immediately gets cut down, and they find their first round here for the attack.
UTSA found that momentum. They found the force that they needed, and they will take their first attacking round. But that one seemed like Texas A&M got quite flustered for the first time. Once they lost that top floor control by a combination push from Cigar, Bar, and the rappel on those cocktail windows, Texas A&M, they didn't really know what to do. They didn't feel comfortable holding on the site, so we had a player get over-aggressive on a run-out of that pillar's door. We had a player get caught out over in hell, over deep in pillars. It just simply was not good enough for them to hold down. And I'm not sure if they're just not comfortable playing in reading or fireplace or room like train room, but regardless, their over-aggression, their micro-positioning errors were punished, and UTSA successfully takes their first round here on Cafe. But it's round number 4, and it is back to that first bomb site that we saw. It is Kitchen, the focus of this round, and a similar vertical extension is likely to occur, but there is not the substantial information denial wombo combo that occurred last time. We only have the Mozzie, we don't have the Mute and the Vigil as well.
I was going to say, Jay-Z, I don't know if you want to touch on it or not, but Praise is on the Frost. Okay, no one sees Frost in competitive play. I'm not even going to say I don't see it. I don't think anybody sees Frost in competitive play. The fact that Praise is electing to bring out a Frost now, could have been a misclick. Maybe they didn't get the 6th pick. I don't know exactly why, or I don't know. There's no way to analyze this. I'm just gonna say, what pick is this?
It is an interesting one. Personally, I've seen in a scrim or two a clutch Frost mat can happen here or there. It's happened before, even in a streamed match here, I believe, on CR6. You'll have to check me on that one, but I do believe it can work out here or there, but no doubt it is an unorthodox pick, to say the very least. Fear of God will not be doing anything crazy, though. You've got a standard vertical roam. That's going to be one player on the top floor. Fear of God, one player on the second floor. Black Air Forces and Praise on the Frost is on that red stairs landing, now rotated back down to the site. So the job of these roamers is to just delay UTSA from getting that vertical control, but for Black Air Forces, that delaying will prove nothing and will only prove an early grave. The Jaeger taken down, and now Fear of God is the remaining roamer above the sledge. Now, Nexon is in a potentially dangerous position, especially if no teammates are there to support him. But for now, Swish choosing the floor is all that the sledge will be working on, and be working on establishing those vertical angles onto the anchors below. We do have a cheeky Castle trying to hide out here in Bakery, and right now, Ton is the player elected to contest them.
Speaking of contestant, Chief and Fear of God are both going to be able to land 1 kill each of them. Ton is going to get 1 back after getting swung on there by Jinro. However, 3v3 scenario now for this teams. Now the question is, where do they elect to push on? Easy Money lands a beautiful headshot onto Fear of God, and that's going to swing the tide here for this team. Ton now electing to try and push his way through onto that prep side. And Chief is going to elect to watch Mini Bakery as well. Going to be up to them to see if they find a very early pick. They know that this hall is going to be contested. The only question is, do they get this wall open? Yes, they do. Zyra now has to push in and go for this plant. This wall is completely locked off. Zyra lands the pick onto Praise. However, Chief going in for a very, very sneaky flank here. However, he is going to get found out. They know exactly where he is. He is boxed in. They have to find a pick on to him now. C4, however, not in the default spot, but it still rings true. 18 seconds left to go now. But the wall bang comes in. Easy money, knows where he's coming in from. And a beautiful shot onto Chief. There we go. That is the round. UTSA pick up another.
They will do exactly that, Vial, and they will do it in what looked like relative ease. They took map control, they took bakery control, and they pummeled their way forcefully into that site. They didn't get caught out by any late flanks because bakery is a very tough place to flank, and that is the danger of devoting too little utility to that bakery position. If your attackers make their headway into that bakery and they get small bakery control and look down towards Whiskey Bar, it is all but sacrificed, at least that side of the map. There is almost no way you can flank from prep or from small because those are positions heavily watched by both
Attackers
flank
need to
drones
locate
and
defuse as many
attackers
bombs as they
alike.
can.
So that will be round number 4 in UTSA's Open Arms, and it is round number 5 now heading back up to Bar and Cocktail. And once again, Chief is going to bring the clash, the pick that worked out quite well last time it came out.
I wonder what the adjustment is going to be for UTSA. You know that this clash is most likely going to be brought out. Again, the only question is how? Why are you going to attack this clash? Where exactly are you going to force these angles? You could force them on the white stairs, however, you run the risk of dying to anybody playing at those stairs, or even by the white hall. It's going to be very dangerous for anyone to play there. General's also going to set up his Maestro camps into Christmas and fly. Again, going to be down to that very, very same apex point that we always wonder. If you can take that piano, and how do you get anyone out of bathroom if they do hold bathroom? But another apex point is that what we didn't talk about last time, Praise, the smoke. With I believe an ADS throw 2, plus his smoke canisters is going to be holding on to the freezer, and that is going to be very dangerous for this attack.
Well, what they're focused on right now is simply just opening up these hatches and getting boots on the ground. When attacking Cafe, you almost always need to have boots on the ground by about the 2-minute mark, maybe just a little bit after that is okay, because that is what it takes to get the pressure mounting onto the site. Unfortunately for Easy Money, no way Easy Money is going to be mounting the pressure onto the site, only finding his 6-foot grave early on in round number 5. That's the Zofia. 2 drones and quite a bit of utility now lost for UTSA. Not the end of the world. You've got Ton with those breaching rounds to replace those impacts that Zofia can bring, but you're also losing a big gunner and a big player in this team. Easy Money now relegated to camera duty, hoping to support the team in any way possible, but Praise is going to make that a bit challenging. Going to be quick peeking out behind Chief, just waiting for this push to come through, and the Wamai magnets are just far too many to be dealt with for UTSA. Every nade getting caught out, and that is going to force UTSA to ignore Piano for the time being. Now they're going to drop into Cigar, hopefully getting some action here on New Balk, but could it be too little too late? Down the man advantage, they are going to be looking to find some action here, but Chief has spotted where Nexon is coming from. Their position is telegraphed, and this is getting more dangerous for this attacking team by the minute.
And the only minute they have left now, with just under 60 seconds left to go, Chief still has a very, very good foothold here for his defense. He's actually electing to push up. This is going to give him so much info. And they don't know that he swapped off his shield. He's going to be able to find a free pick, but no, he's not able to land the shot. Nexon, now that the apex point is gone, they don't have a shield to cover them. They don't have a way to actually force their engagements, but it doesn't matter. Fear of God with the quick beat finds his first frag here. This defense is not giving up just yet. Beezy pushes in the Maestro, the old 81 bullets sing true once again. Nexon forces his way through. He wants to win this gunfight. He wins it out. Now it's a 1v3 scenario. He knows exactly what Praise is. Is he going to be able to win the shot? No, he's not able to win the first one. Now he knows he's going to get flanked from multiple positions, but it doesn't matter. Black Air Forces. There he goes. Jumps off the back, wins that gunfight, and there we go. Round number 6 now on the table here, and Texas A&M, they get their 3rd round here in this half.
Another back and forth round. these are close every single time. These teams are grinding it out and are refusing to slow down. That is another successful Texas A&M defense, and now on the final round of their defensive half, they will be looking to take this ahead to 4-2. If they were to do that, they've got the momentum going into that second half. A 2-round lead is quite a bit to work with, especially when we're so back and forth that these two teams have been all night. This one is coming down to the wire as close as we could have ever expected, and it is going to be an exciting second half to say the least. But our focus remains on this first half. It's the last round. We've got one more opportunity to see Texas A&M's defense at work and how UTSA's attacking force will mount on this kitchen site once again. Last time, the vertical pressure was unable to be found early on, or at least afar from a little bit of that breaching hammer from the sledge. It was primarily a bakery-focused attack that won UTSA the round. So in round number 6, what will they be bringing to the table here? Well, we're going to have to see exactly how it goes, and we're going to have to see if they make any mid-round adaptations dealing with all this bamboozling that Texas A&M continues to bring to the table round after round.
And the only thing that's bamboozling me is praise. I have no idea why you bring the frost. Granted, you know exactly certain choke points that they're going to force their way through. Granted, like that big window, going to force their way through. If they jump through, they automatically get caught out. They're not going to be expecting the frost trap. So I guess it makes sense to a certain degree. But that's assuming they even get all the way through sight. And speaking of getting all the way through sight, BZ is going to cut all the way through Jinro. It don't matter where you are, he's going to find you. And that's a very early pick here for UTSA on the board. That's going to lead to a very good round here coming in. But Black Air Force, he gets the refrag. He is not wasting any time. But Nexon, he knows that someone could be lurking near. Actually, he might not even be aware of this. He was just looking for vertical pressure here. Nexon not aware someone might be in fire praise, and he gets caught out for it. Black Air Force now with a double kill on the round, and the only question is, where's the rest of his team, and how are they getting rid of these attackers?
Easy money, now tasked with removing this VIP defender, but proving too elusive is Chief, now back off into dining and into whiskey, hoping to contend with this player. Fear of God rotated down brown stairs to support the Malusi, and Easy Money will now forgo that position and join Tun, pushing into prep. But the vertical holes from above are too much for Tun to contend with right now, and it's too much for Zyra as well. Zyra gets cut down. Easy Money, though, will find a retaliating blow onto Fear of God. UTSA staying in this fight, but here comes Praise on the flank, finding one kill with the SMG, and now Black Air Forces finds another and another. The vertical play proving too strong for the remaining UTSA attackers to handle, and it will be a 4-2 split, a 2-round advantage for Texas A&M going into the second half of this decider map.
Quad kill there, to end the half for Black Air Forces, puts him on double digits in this map right now, and he has been balling out this entire matchup, and the only question is how much more of that momentum can be held onto as we head into the second half of this matchup. He is going to swap over onto the attack with his team, well, UTSA swap over to the defense, and the only question is, how are they going to retaliate? They have to find some bit of momentum, force their way back in. 2-4 is nothing to necessarily scratch at if you're the defense or if you're the attack, because the attack, if they get one, now you are a decent distance away from the defense. However, defense gets one back. It is anybody's game. It also depends on how you set the site up. And unlike Texas A&M, UTSA is elected to reinforce the entire freezer wall, something that some teams never elected to do. But it looks like UTSA is. What do you take of this, JC?
Well, I'm interested to see exactly how it goes down. I mean, we're seeing that heavy use of that pixel position, that pixel shield. There's no clash in play like Texas A&M chose to bring to the table here. So I guess only time will tell, VL. We're going to have to see exactly how Texas A&M choose to attack this as well. Ton, hoping to start things off with a bang, trying to find a spawn peek here, might actually be able to find one. And he will. What a shot. The head of Black Air Force is now well away from his body, and the Ash gone. Early on in this one, the double digits will only remain at 10 for the Ash main. Now, with the disadvantage already in this round, Texas A&M are going to have to come up with some sort of response here, but UTSA, all they have to do now is play time and wait for Texas A&M to walk into their open arms.
Texas A&M could force those arms to close because they don't want to come into them. They want to slap those arms away and force their way into another round. However, UTSA now in the driver's seat as they have that man advantage, and clearly, since they have a very advantageous position, speaking of advantageous position, Ton, he's going to be holding on to what looks to be piano. Now that they know that one person is back in Pixel, they may not even elect to check this angle. That could prove to be a very dangerous spot here for Texas A&M
The
if
attacker's
they
bomb
don't check
diffuser has
the
been
corners.
dropped. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
We're going to see the drone work going out. We would assume that those corners are going to be checked, but of course, sometimes in the heat of the moment, those tiny angles, those rat corners per se, can remain unnoticed. Easy money using the Echo drone to get full knowledge of where this push is coming from, and all Nexon has to do now is bait for his teammate lurking on stage. Now Nexon will be still holding this position, and it is not going to be easy to deal with. You still have the Wamai Magnets, you still have those ADSs. Playing this like it's the old meta is working out so far for UTSA. Ton gonna swing up preemptively, going to take the shots onto Jinro and will down the Maverick. Will down another and take down Fear of God. Nexon will capitalize, taking down Chief, and it's all but over here in Piano. Ton, the madman, is going to clear it out immediately, with UTSA stopping that push in its tracks before it could even get started.
Clean up behind the bar. He is spilling everything. It's a ton of a mess, I guess you can say, and he's running rampant. Now 3-4 the scoreline, and this defense still looks hot, as they did at the attack when they were looking good. However, tides can shift very quickly in Texas A&M. They still are playing very well. The only question is, does this momentum shift their way back, or do they elect to fight back? It's up to them as we head into round number 8, and we head all the way down to the kitchen bomb site.
Defenders,
Texas
protect your
A&M,
bombs from
after
being
that
defused by
round
attackers.
loss, are going to have to recover in a big way here, because that was a stomping. That was a flawless round delivered by UTSA. Of course, helped by that early pick onto the top fragger of Black Air Forces early on that spawn peak, but
Attackers have located
the rest
the
of that
bomb.
round didn't go too great either. The push into Piano destroyed before it could even get any traction. We're going to see a typical bakery setup go down now. You're going to have a player playing behind the bakery half wall. You've got your castle barricades, as well as that rotate into small.
10 seconds
And that is
left
going to
before
allow a
insertion.
player to play behind that half wall, use the rotate into bakery,
5 seconds
or into
remaining.
kitchen rather, to rotate away when that position is too dangerous
Attackers'
to hold.
objective is to
However,
defuse the
it is
bomb.
a very dangerous position to hold at the end of the day, because it only takes about 30 seconds for an easy crossfire to be established. You run up to that small bakery window. You use some hard breach utility to open up that wall right where Jinro is now challenging, and all of a sudden you've got an easy pick onto that half wall player. But for this attack, we look at our hard breach and we almost have none. You always have a Maverick, of course, but only can do it from the proximity of the wall, and you have Chief, who can put that secondary hard breach gadget on the wall itself. Nobody has the ranged hard breach. No Ace, no Habana. So clearing out that bakery player is actually going to be quite a bit harder than this attack is going to prefer. But the vertical take is what is going down first, working their way down, top down, forcing out. That would be the mute. Beezy forced out with the Jackal footprint scan by Fear of God.
This roam clear for this attack is going to take some time. However, even with the Jackal, it still takes plenty of time to actually clear anybody out. Speaking of clearing anybody out, it's going to be that castle. He now is known where exactly. Can he spot the foot? Yes, he does. Fear of God is going to find a very early pick on to Nexon. That is the castle in a very vital position in that closet. Now, that point is going to be of contention. Fear of God is not going to let anyone else contest him, though, as he finds a second. The only question is, where is the rest of this team? More footprints to be scanned, and that's the last one. Echo, down off the board, spotted all the way back.
Bomb has been located.
Freezer, basically. Now, the only question is, what is Easy Money going to do? He's going to go for an extremely late flank and try and get 1 or 2 frags. He knows that at least one player is going to be up here, and the only question is, where is the second? Does he have the chance to play with some trigger discipline? But time is not on his favor. He's able to shoot out the airjet. This could be a very, very big spot here, because no one's going to be paying attention to this. However, he lands the first shot. Is he going to be able to land the second? No. Fear of God falls. That's your hot gun. Easy Money able to bring this back at least a little bit more in favor of his team.
Well, now Chief working his way up all the way in Whiskey Bar, now assisted by Black Air Forces trying to get this freezer pressure mounting, is starting to gain some traction here. But the defenders, fully aware that freezer has been sacrificed, are going to be keeping a weather eye on this position. But as will Tun, will finally remove the Capital from play, so those bolts will not come into effect when this plant tries to go down. Zyra in a very tight angle here, but the Ash is going to look away at the wrong moment. Zyra over-aggresses on the swing, and Jinro will punish. Now a 2v2, a 1v2 as Praise finds the head of Easy Money, and all of a sudden Texas A&M, they've got an overwhelming advantage in this round. The plant now almost successfully down. It has been landed, and Tun will fall. Praise cutting down the remaining defender, and Texas A&M recover a round and win it to take the advantage. The 5-3 scoreline now in their grasp.
It was looking extreme for Texas A&M, because if they were not able to pull away that round, you basically threw a 5-3 man advantage, and now they have the 5-3 split. They still have a very, very good chance of pulling away with this matchup. However, they have to secure match point. They have 2 rounds to secure a match point, and then one, of course, they have to get the next one to secure the series, and then their playoffs. However, UTSA, they are going to be fighting for this as they elect to go back down to Kitchen. And I wonder what the thinking behind this is, JC. Why they elect to go back here and maybe not a different site?
Well, it seems that UTSA just want to avoid those tertiary bomb sites as much as they can, and the quaternary bomb sites, they're not going to want to bring those in play. I mean, overall, I think that hold from UTSA had a lot of promise. It looked like it was going to be quite successful, especially because that bakery hold worked out pretty well. But unfortunately, if you're using all your utility on that west side for the bakery hold, you kind of forego the eastern control. You're not putting a player in VIP. You're not putting a player in reception or coat check. And that will allow the attacking pressure to build from that side. Simply, Texas A&M in that last round did a brilliant job of assessing the situation and then making their attacking approach result from that intel that they gained. Most teams, well, I'd say a lot of teams, will have a tunnel vision on their approach to a site when they begin the round. That can be good because your full utility will be devoted there, but the danger with that, Vial, is that you don't get the best opportunity for your team if there's no utility or limited utility devoted to one side of the map or the other. So you got to give it up to Texas A&M for that perfect attack in that last round. But like we were talking about at the start of this conversation, UTSA are going back here again. So they clearly have on their mind a way that they can change up their approach to this defense, but we're going to have to see exactly what that will be.
If it were me, I would say maybe put a roamer up top, try and delay more time, and rather than go for picks, just try and delay. And it looks like that's exactly what BZ wants to do. Not having the hottest of maps right now. However, playing on the Vigil, he can just delay as much time as possible. Run back and forth with those Vigil scanners, basically showing a team, hey, I am here, you have to try and drill me out, or at least clear out this entire map. He can come back, if anything, go invisible and come all the way back, maybe find a frag, maybe get traded out, but then he puts his team in a very good advantage. However, Black Air Force is not even going to risk any time. He is just going to face check everything. He doesn't care. He wants to take these gunfights. He's looking for that elusive 11th kill, but it doesn't matter. He's going to start this work for the vertical pressure here. 90 seconds left to go, and this defense, they're looking not necessarily bad because time is on their side.
Well, time is on their side, but now with these vertical holes, opened up by Fear of God and Black Air Forces, UTSA have to be very wary of where they are playing on this site. Opening this floor makes it very challenging to anchor pretty much anywhere on this site, and as a result, BZ is going to rotate down towards the bottom of White Stairs. Easy money, finding the first frag will take down Praise. The Nomad is lost. But there are still 4 attackers remaining. As BZ falls to Chief, over-aggressing bottom of White Stairs, caught out unaware of the White Stairs push, the man count will now equalize with 40 seconds left. Now Chief, using that secondary hard breach gadget, will be opening on up that freezer wall, and Black Air Forces has now taken swift control of Whiskey Bar. Using that control, looking for some frags now, hasn't found much traction since the half, but is looking to force out this castle. Zyra, once again, the close angle on the freezer, has to be very careful of this frag grenade dancing his way, but the overswing, the aggression from Zyra punished once again. Now Chief working their way in. Black Air Forces delivers the fatal blow to Nexon. The plant now hitting the floor. It's Easy Money and Ton. They have the work to do here. Easy Money swings, looks for the shots, misses. The hard pings are there, and Ton will capitalize, but the blind swing through the smoke will not bear any fruit. Easy Money will down Chief, but get down for his troubles, and the refrag is not there from Ton. Ton was busy juicing themselves back up with that stim pistol and is now caught in a 1v2 post-plant situation. The pings are there, but the shots do not seem to land, and the res goes down, excuse me. Ton finds the shots, and now only has 2 more players to find. The player behind him caught him completely off guard, and Chief will prevail in the engagement. Texas A&M will go ahead and take another round.
I wonder if he even knew that he got picked up, or maybe he just swung around hoping to take that immediate gunfight behind them, but it doesn't matter because now Texas A&M, they are now at the front foot. They have match series playoff hope point here on the board, and now UTSA, they are on the back burner. They have to start pushing for this match point here. They have to go flawless for 3 rounds to even have a chance to get into the playoffs now. And we're going to head up to this top floor here. And Jay-Z, if you're UTSA, what has been failing? What can you do to turn this map around?
That's so hard to say, VL, because right now, Texas A&M are putting on a show, and it is one that it looks like they will not
Attackers need to
slow
locate
down
and defuse bombs.
whatsoever. However, though, this is a situation that has looked very similar to what we've seen before. Both of the maps previous, this was the exact scoreline. At least on that first map, it was flipped in the favor of UTSA. The reason I'm saying that is because I believe UTSA is going to get a round or 2 here. That would not surprise me at all if this one got even closer, brought it to that 6-5 match point rather than that 6-3 match point. But to do so, VL, we're going to have to see a very cohesive top floor defense, the likes that we have struggled to see across this entire map from UTSA thus far. They have it in them. We've seen these moments of brilliance, but the brilliance from Texas A&M has been a little bit stronger so far.
Both of these teams are very, very brilliant in their own respective manner. And Ton, he wants to find another. Is anybody even going to challenge that angle? No, but he's actually going to get tagged. But it doesn't matter. Ton wins those. I don't even know where that kill came out from. Was it in the exact same spot? I don't. Okay. Nice, I think.
Definitely nice. The same combo. Ton on to Black Air Forces. 2 of these big fraggers for these rosters, exchanging shots early on. If you remember, a couple of rounds ago, the reason UTSA was able to win that round, the Ash was off the board. It was a 4-v5 for the entirety of the round, and everyone died pushing piano. Looks like we're in for a very similar situation if Texas A&M are not careful, but they will not fall victim to the same mistake twice. No way they're going to let Ton ravage them like he did in piano that last time around.
However, you may be wrong just at least for now. He finds the first one. Praise. He's going to find another one back. There we go. They're starting to find a little bit of traction here, but Nexon finds one back, supporting his teammate. 2v4 now for this attack. and it just looks like this round they may have to
Attackers
wait
recovered
if
the
they
bomb
want to
diffuser.
get that match point one more time. Mozzie Drone will deny Praise's drone, at least for now. However, they have to find their way through, and a beautiful drop coming in from Chief to avoid the headshot coming in from Ton. Ton will be down. The fire burns him out, and that's your player gone. That's your Jaeger off the board. Now a 2v3. Very winnable here for Texas A&M.
It is winnable, but it's going to be a challenge. Chief and Praise are all that remains of this attack. They put up good numbers, but can they clutch it up when it matters most? Nexon, Easy Money, and Zyra, the remaining defenders holding out this position. You've got Nexon in Pixel, but you've got Chief with some smokes looking to lay down some suppression here. The smoke a bit past the deployable shield. That's going to allow the Wamai to challenge on that if they need to, but Chief's going to over-aggress, and Nexon will punish the Texas A&M attacker, and he will do it one more time. UTSA will take round number 10, and they will stay in this fight for a couple more rounds.
Oh, this is getting dangerous here for both of these teams. Texas A&M, we could go to all 12 rounds once again, and I would not be shocked if we did, because UTSA, they're going to have to go down to this kitchen once more. However, they have to, if they do go down to the kitchen, which actually now it looks like they want to go to Reading Fireplace. They haven't gone to this tertiary bomb site yet. This could throw a huge monkey in the wrench for Texas A&M, because they haven't had to face this bomb site just yet. However, that could be exactly what Texas A&M is expecting. They're going to be the Jackal, so they don't want to deal with any of these roamers, and they're also going to be bringing the Gridlock, another operator that can lock down any roamers and make sure that, hey, if you're going to roam, you're going to have to pay the noise price for it, and maybe
Attackers
with
need
your life.
to locate and defuse
Now,
as many bombs
it's going to
as
be
they
up
can.
to this defense to see exactly how they're going to set this up and who exactly are they going to put at this top floor site. Because I don't know about you, JC, but some of these operators isn't necessarily the best for this top floor site.
I mean, that's a good point here, but I mean, you've got Praise bringing Gridlock, which is pretty good, you know, locking off the flank similar to a Nomad, changing up that role just a little bit, bringing the smokes in hopes that they will assist this push. I mean, we've got 4 smokes technically, well, 6 smokes rather, because Chief has 2 smokes bringing the Capitao, and you've got 2 from the Jackal and 2 from the Gridlock. So if we saw something of an aggressive site take, I would honestly not be surprised here, because you have that much smoke, you have that much suppressive fire from these operators. You could very well go for some early aggression onto somewhere like Fireplace Hall if you're feeling pretty spicy. But we've seen generally the default stuff from both of these teams, nobody going absolutely crazy with it tonight, so I don't know if we're going to see a rush, but maybe a bit more aggression, to say the least. But for now, it is still match point, and Texas A&M can still win this here. UTSA have to put together a cohesive tertiary bomb site defense if they want any chance at taking this further in this series.
The start for this attack is always going to be the roam clear, or at least trying to find out where exactly this team are, and that Mozzie did not want to waste time. He wants to get that drone and deny as much info as possible. Falls away from the pixel, but no, now Tana wants to fall all the way back. Knows that he can deny a drone with that Mozzie, but the Jackal tracker is going to be on him. Not going to lose any damage as well, as no one swings into him, and now they have no advantage in pixel. Black Air Force might be able to find one, and he finds a free pick onto BZ. He was not watching his corners at all. That's his 12th frag on the board right now. And 3 players are actually, no, I believe only 1 player is up at the top floor site now. The rest of them elect to fall back. Not a lot of drones left on the board for this team, or at least all the ones that they've used have been shot out. Fear of God still has 1 last scanner left on the board if he needs to find out if anyone's at this top floor site. With a minute and a half left to go, there is still plenty of action yet to be had.
Well, the action is only going to ramp up in this round as we pass that minute 15 mark. Nexon and Ton still remain stalwart on this top floor hold, but it's getting a bit dangerous for them as now Praise is going to swing on through, but narrowly misses the headshot. Nexon capitalizes, and the man count is now even. But our Ton and Praise Nexon rather overstaying their welcome, well, Fear of God is going to punish Ton for exactly that. Nexon down to very low HP, forced to rotate away, but there is a player in pillar. That is Black Air Forces, ready to contest this at all costs. Now the pressure building up onto this reading room site. They are looking for this execute. Jinro on the swing, but there's Nexon on the close angle. I don't believe he knows he's there. This could get crazy quite quickly as the breaching round from the Ash is going to go through. Easy Money taking quite a bit of damage. Nexon, all he has to do is swing, and he will. He'll find one. That's the diffuser on the ground. 3v3, equal man advantage now with Black Air Forces throning up into the hallway. Zyra finds another, but Black Air Forces is cut down. It's all up to Chief, and UTSA could very well be in this and continue to fight this one back. Chief only 25 HP, has to find 3 defenders who are very lacking in the health department, but it is Nexon who finds the shots. The trade reigns true, and UTSA once again refused to go down easy. They refused to step out of this fight, and just like map number 2, it is a 6-5 scoreline, round number 12, the ultimate round of regulation.
I hope each and every single one of you watching right now went to the bathroom before this matchup, because this is where it counts. This is the do or die moment for UTSA, as I like to call it. I call it the clutch moments, the moments that people were born for and made for, the ones that you see on the highlight reels, the ones that you always praise people for. And the only question is, how do they live up to this expectation? How are they going to crack under this pressure? Do they crack and then break free and force us into OT, or do they crack and fall through to the Texas A&M squad? We're going to find that out here as we head to round number 12. And Jay-Z, we're heading all the way down to the bottom floor site. UTSA, I believe, haven't been able to win this site once. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they've won this site once. What do you think has to change here for them to win this site?
Well, last time we were here, they had that bakery extension. It seems that the bakery extension is how they roll with this. But the problem with that is the freezer push is neglected. And we've seen that happen multiple times now. These Texas A&M attackers just send it in from that freezer side. They go down white stairs when they've established the vertical control. They open up freezer, and in combination with some vertical angles and some long angles from that garage, they are able to get that push into the site. And both times we've seen this played, UTSA has not had the necessary response to this freezer push. And right now, we're actually not seeing utility devoted to this VIP hole. I would think that that is the adaptation that you need. Put a player in VIP behind the deployable shield to stall out a white pall push from that garage side. If you do that, maybe, just maybe, you can stop this brutal Texas A&M attack on this freezer side. But if not, you run the risk of having the same exact problem that has plagued your defense multiple times before.
The only question is, how much time is it going to be that BZ, or either Ton, is going to delay off the clock? He's going to start using his gadget to try and bait out where he is to these defenders. They don't want to obviously take these as a face check gunfight, because if they do, it's automatically going to be a loss of the gunfight. However, Ton is going to try and just keep delaying as much time as possible. Now with a little over 90 seconds left to go, he might try to swing in and find the gunfight. Will he go for the wallbang? No, he's not going to be able to land anything. And now they know exactly where he is. He needs to rotate out of this if he wants to do anything with it. But he finds the first pick. Will he find the second one? No, he falls. And there we go. Black Air Forces now onto his 13th. Ton also found his 12th, but he has to sit and watch from the sidelines now for the rest of his team.
Ton now relegated to camera duty, hoping to help out this push, or help stall out this push, rather, as it gets its way going onto this first floor. Overall, the roam from Ton was pretty successful. You got a pick onto a gridlock, and you delayed quite a bit of time. Now with 1 minute to go, the floor is finally being opened, and so this could be the time delay that UTSA needed to prevent this push from being successful. But a minute is still ample time to work with in Siege. You still have time to put your drones out. You still have time to breach a wall or two, and figure out where these defenders are positioned. Now Chief doing what we've seen from Chief every time, pushing up in Whiskey Bar. This has had varying amounts of success, but this time we have Easy Money playing in coat check, looking to contest on these players. And if they're not careful, this could be problematic. But Jinro is going to take out Nexon, ignoring the presence of that Jaeger. Once again, it's a freezer side take, and now with the smoke off, Easy Money is going to use that opportunity to rotate around, but this is getting very problematic for this defense. Fear of God is now getting quite aggressive. Zyra, full of fire now, has to stall out this push, but it is too quick. Zyra finds one and downs another. It's now a 2v3 with Texas A&M all of a sudden on the back foot, and now a 1v2 as Fear of God tries to find the last shots, but the time has simply expired, and UTSA will take round 12, and we have overtime of our decider map, folks.
I hope you're not up past your bedtime watching this matchup, kiddies, because this one is going to go even longer past your bedtime, because this one is a barn burner. This one is the matchup of a matchup here, and the battle in the Wild West is still going on here as we range longer here for the Texas. Now we're heading into OT here. Jay-Z, we get to see these two teams duke it out. This is for all the marbles here, and I don't know what to expect.
It is for all the marbles, but you got to take note of who is starting on defense. That is going to be UTSA. Now, of course, this went 4-2 defensive sided on each half of
Defenders,
this
protect
coin
your
here.
bombs from
When
being
they were on
defused
their
by
defensive
attackers.
half, Texas A&M, they stormed ahead. They took 4 rounds, and then UTSA on that other side of the coin, they did the exact same thing. So sitting at 6-6 now, you would have to assume that UTSA have the advantage here, but in the way that these rounds have been playing out, they've been back and forth, not only between rounds, but within each round. I think we're definitely at a starting point. You can scratch everything you've seen thus far, because it is now 1-2. It is a grind getting out in these final few rounds. Which of these teams is going to have it put together? Which one is not going to allow the get to them? We've been here for hours now, and these teams have got to be exhausted. Which team has that experience to fall back on? Which team will remain calm in the most dire of situations? We're going to have to find out.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Seeing now a typical setup here coming in from UTSA. A typical setup that we always see from them. And the other question is, are they going to play as aggressive as they usually did? It doesn't look like they want to. Ton not electing to play in piano, at least as of right now. Maybe this throws a wrench in the work of Texas A&M, because they are used to seeing Ton in here. Maybe they drove this out quicker, or rather slower, and they want to try and find him as quick as possible. They want to see where he is, and maybe that delays a little bit more time. Maybe this comes into a bit of a mind game now. With 2 minutes left on the clock, Texas A&M have to force their way, at least eventually, on into the building.
But for now, the push is not there yet. Chief is now finally dropped, got the boots on the ground, and has the hard breach gadget on the wall. Oh no! Ton tried to remove the hard breach gadget, but Chief made him pay his life for it. Thankfully for UTSA, BZ found the response, removing Fear of God, keeping it even in a 4v4 situation now.
4v4 with just a little over 90 seconds left to go. BC might try to go for a flank here, but Gridlock Stinger tracks will deter him, at least for now. C4, he might be able to catch one here. Yes, he does. He catches Chief. There we go. That is the diffuser also down, and the man advantage now heavily in favor. And as I speak, we get one more on the board here. Nexon finds one back for his team. The only question is, what does this attack from Texas A&M do with 60 seconds left on the clock? What more can they do?
Well, Praise stuck on Nubalk here all alone with an Echo drone just pouring the Gridlock's way. There isn't a lot they can do, Vial, and BZ's going to be looking to find some shots here from Hell, trying to shoot them all the way up towards Nubalk, but nothing will connect. Black Air Forces could do this. This is a clutch player on the Ash roll. We've seen this time and time again, but Nexon is elusive and is not going into the sightline of the Ash just yet. The breaching charge on the wall. Here comes Praise working in from that bar door, but no defenders are presenting themselves. They're playing passive, they're playing quite smartly, and they simply refuse to go down. Nexon, the first player to go down, he will happily take the L for his team, but there are only 15 seconds left. But Black Air Force is actually going for this plant, and Praise is in a position to stop this. The C4 range true, but will not actually connect a blow, and easy money is denied, but BZ is on the flank. Finding the one, that's a triple kill for BZ. It's now a 2v1. It is all up to the Ash in the post plant, sneaking around in bar, but unable to find the last defenders. It is Zyra taking down the Ash, and UTSA, they go back from being 6-3 down match point. Now it is 7-6 in their favor. 4 rounds in a row, staring down a match point of their own.
What a turnaround this could be, getting 5 rounds in a row, potentially for not only the map, not only the match, but for your playoff hopes and dreams here in this series. It's going to be very, very dangerous here. However, they're going to swap over to this attack, and the only question is, how are they going to elect to attack this? Because this defense is going to definitely be extremely strong here. As we see them, they're going to prove to go, or rather choose to go to this top floor site.
They are headed towards Bar and Cocktail, a site that has mixed results for both teams, but when you bring the clash, Chief has had quite a bit of success on this site. And for UTSA, they have struggled to deal with the presence of this clash. It is a ton of information at the fingertips of Texas A&M, and it is something that UTSA have yet to conquer. No wonder they banned the clash in that second map. Not a surprise whatsoever, but not banning it here has actually been a big crutch, a thorn in the side of this attack from UTSA, especially on this Bar and Cocktail site, Vial.
It has indeed, and the only question is, do they elect to put somebody right behind Chief, which as they usually do, that could prove to get themselves maybe a free frag or two. Forces them on 2, maybe a man advantage, and forces the attack of UTSA into a very dangerous spot. I'm curious one because you have to fight this clash for anybody else. And Chief is just going to play a little bit of a mind game here, trying to break one of the windows and maybe force them into a bit of a scary position here that they don't want to be in. And they're gonna go as normal people do, going to the roof, trying to break down in through the hatches and play the normal checklist as most teams do when there is top floor bombs.
They're going to be looking to get this pressure going, but I gotta say, how are they going to change it up this time? BZ, doesn't seem it's going to matter for the Nomad. Taking out Fear of God, the Jaeger is gone early, and that is a huge early pick. Texas A&M, now reeling from that early loss, have a huge responsibility to claw this back. That's a big deal. Losing the Jaeger, the powerful 416 now gone off the board early on, something that they will surely be regretting as this round continues to unfold. This time it does appear that Easy Money may be looking to get some vertical pressure on Cocktail rather than feeding the information to the clash on the piano side. But will it be successful? Will Jinro be aware of that? We're gonna have to see how exactly it will unfold.
Over 90 seconds left to play in this round. It's going to get very dangerous here. Even though the man advantage is in favor of UTSA, they still have to worry about, of course, their players. Black Air Force is, of course, one of your stronger players, is still on the board at 14 frags on the whammy. Who am I? And this vertical pressure still coming in for UTSA. They want to get this Maestro out of position. They want to kill him, and the bullets are ringing true. It's getting extremely close to General, and if he's not careful, he could find himself in a 6-foot grave. However, the rest of his team, they are not wanting to pressure him. Tun, he is actually going to force this gunfight and put his team in a very big advantage. Now Tun, he's going off. He's going ham. He wants his team this victory here. They aren't allowing it. Is it going to be 5 maps in a row, or rather rounds in a row? General has something to say about it, but doesn't matter. Nexon gets one back, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. UTSA finish off this match, and there we go. On to the playoffs they go. Texas A&M fall flat and short. They lose 5 rounds in a row. for UTSA to clinch this one back.
Whew! What a way to end this series. Wow. 5 rounds in a row? Could you even, predict that? That was incredible for UTSA, showcasing that they do not care how down they are, what the deficit is. They are going to storm ahead and get that comeback going. I am still in awe of that team and what they just did. Texas A&M was so close. Some would say they were the underdogs here. Some would say these teams were evenly matched, and I have to say, these teams absolutely went down to the wire, evenly matched indeed. Texas A&M proving they've got what it takes, but UTSA outshining them at the end of the day, Vial. And like you said, UTSA, they've booked their ticket to the playoffs. They will head into the round of 16 next week, and for Texas A&M, it is unfortunate that they are now done for the winter 2020 season. We're going to have to wait till the spring to see them again. But this has been an incredible night of an incredible siege.
Oh, incredible it was indeed. And like we always talk about, these two teams, it's very sad that Texas A&M will have to end their run right now, because honestly, I would have loved to see these two teams back in the playoffs. Could you imagine that kind of rematch? Oh, that would have been a beautiful game to watch. However, they won't be able to continue it, and UTSA will book their ticket. Like I said, they are the victors of this match, and what a phenomenal match we saw. And honestly, I want to look back at this matchup here. And if there's one person that played very, very consistently and just played a little bit above when his team wasn't really, I guess you can say, there at times, was either Easy Money or Nexon. I will let you decide. Those two really balled out for me, JC, but those two are my top two for MVP, at least from UTSA.
I mean, yeah, those two players, they really put on an absolute show. And I'm not going to pick single one out, because I think really they all played in very impressive performance. I mean, if all 5 players were not playing their absolute best, we would not have seen 3 maps. Texas A&M was a team that was very, very strong. And if just one player on UTSA was caught slacking, they would be dealt with, and it would have been over far earlier than it was. UTSA not only stayed in the fight, but came back to win it. So huge performance from them. And you got to really give it up to the changes that they were able to make mid-round. I mean, sitting at 6-3 and nothing is seeming to work. As a defending team, seeing a strong attack from Texas A&M, how do you counter that? Where do you find the mental fortitude to not only persist in the match, but to actively work with your team to change up your strategy and adapt to a ruthless, and I mean a ruthless attack? However they did it, it was simply a pleasure to witness, because it paid off in a huge way for them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we talk about. It's a lot about the mental fortitude, because when you are down bad, as some would say, you're down 6-3, you really have nothing to. It's essentially your map to win at that point, because what do you have to lose? Nothing, because you are only one away, and you can't really say much. You can't say that you didn't play your best. So ball out, try as hard as you can, and that's exactly what happened. It was the switch that flipped for them, and they came out on top. So hats off to UTSA. And it was really that adjustability, that adaptability that we don't see from a lot of teams. It separates a good team from the best teams. It's the ability to adapt, force your way through, fight that mental block, and really prove that, hey, we can stick, we can ball. And speaking of balling, it's the homie Migs. How are you doing tonight?
Stressed.
Stressed. That's one way to put it. Why would you put it as stressed?
Well, after starting off hot, map 1, we kind of started cooling down. People were losing their energy, and we kind of had a rocky road. Map 2 and 3 as well. Last time we played them, we started off real slow. Same when we played Tech. So we started playing. We did a warm up scrim, and I think everyone's energy went into the warm up scrim and the attacking half of map 1, and just we were gassed on map 2 and 3.
That's a fair
Not gonna
take.
happen for sure, yeah. But I mean, I really got to give it up to the team. I mean, you guys really clawed it back. I mean, 5 rounds in a row when match point was on the line. That is simply incredible. Is there one thing that you would note as like the big change, the switch that flipped per se for the team and how they were able to stall out some ruthless attacks?
We were confident in our defenses. Even though they were rough, that we said we'll take attack, build on momentum when we go on defense. Because the same thing with map one, we started on attack, and then we started strong with attack, and then on defense we just had to close it out. So if we left them on defense, we knew they'd have the momentum. So we rather take attack first on that last map.
Well, I mean, VL, what kind of questions you got for Migs? I think I've run out.
Well, Migs, the other thing I want to ask is what was the thing that you guys really said? You're down 6-3. What was something that you guys were communicating? What was the turning point? Rather than say, hey, we want to just maintain our defense momentum, what did you say to your teammates? What did you say to everyone around you?
I just said, just play our game, just communicate and play our game. As long as we're communicating, we're not losing rounds. If we're being quiet, then we're just letting them get in our head.
That's a big, big issue, especially with teams. Other teams can get into each other's heads and play that as a huge factor. Last question I have for you is what are your plans? You guys booked it to the playoffs. Congrats.
We're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. There's a lot of stuff we gotta tighten up. We had to play maps that we didn't want to play today. We were comfortable on Oregon, Cafe, and Villa's been an off and on road, especially against A&M. They love Villa. Last time we played them, we were down 1-5 at the split and had to turn that one around. So today's Villa was kind of the same story. So we just got to rework some things.
That makes plenty of sense. And now the last thing I will let you do, I'm handing you the mic. Anything you'd like to say to anybody watching, any supporters, or any of the other college athletes out there?
Shit. Podcast on Monday or Tuesday. Probably Tuesday. Gotta wait for some results. Shout out to the boys. Not giving up. We do a lot of 3 to 4 map scrims just to keep up our endurance. Kinda have to tighten it up. But just gotta keep our stamina up. And not giving up. Multiple match points, 7-5, 5-7. And then this one 8-6.
Well, an impressive run. And again, congratulations to you and your team. We'll let you go celebrate with your boys. And we'll be sure to check out that podcast to see how the rankings stack up at the end of this week. Thanks, Migs.
Thank you guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been quite a ride tonight. We saw a brilliant doubleheader closing it out with an absolute show-stopping matchup between UTSA and Texas A&M. UTSA, of course, now booked their ticket to the Premier Invite League playoffs round of 16, and we're going to see how far they can go. But they've clearly, like Mig said, the coach here said right now, clearly they've got some work ahead of them. They've got some kinks to work on out, and they will definitely be getting those worked on through and hopefully making a deep run, or at least if you're a fan of UTSA. But for myself, for Vial, for everyone here who helped out tonight, we've got Tango Mango down in the booth. We've got Henru observing this matchup. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and we hope you all have a fantastic night, and we will see you next time. Thanks.
in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you?